And hello, everybody, and my future self when I'm inevitably watching this video sometime in the far distant future.
Hello,
And
future Brad.
welcome to the very first inaugural episode of the Waterdhavian Job, a Waterdeep Dragon Heist playthrough. I am your DM, Brad, joined today by my lovely players here. Um, as you can see, we even now have upgraded to have webcams. Wow, it's like
Yeah,
2021 or something.
don't get used to it.
Okay,
Don't
you
get,
do
don't
it.
get used to it. um, yes, so we are going to go ahead and get started here. These are a new campaign, new characters. So I think what we'll do first and foremost is have everybody go around and kind of introduce themselves and the character that they will be playing here. Um, as we get into things. Let's just go clockwise around. So we'll start with James there. You are playing as.
I am playing as Valerie Cadencia von Bourbon, Alexei's younger sister. What more do I say? Is there more to it?
What you are, what you
What you
do.
are like, yeah.
She is an artificer and is in Waterdeep, uh, assisting in the family business. There we go.
All right, cool. And then next we have Mike.
I am Dricken Halfclaw, an Aarakocra monk, and I was basically purchased as an egg by the head of the household, and have been brought up to be the stable master slash, yeah, hunting assistant for the cook slash hunter.
Well, hello, an egg. Then next we have Zach.
I am playing Sir Reginald von Rockenheimen Esquire. I'm sorry. I am playing Sir Reginald von Rockenheimen Esquire the Third. I am a bodyguard to young Valerie here.
And protect her.
It started many, many years ago when she was much younger. She saved me from being executed for my past in the smuggling trade, which we will not go into. Needless to say, I now owe my life to the young girl. And with my powers as a raging barbarian, I will protect her.
You're a raging barbarian.
Yes, and then next we have Morton.
Where did he go?
Where did
No,
he
no.
go?
I'm playing a yeah, what? I'm playing Tabaxi, more Panther is Ranger. Name is basically Snowpaw. He's been traveling and wandering for years. Ended up in Waterdeep with Bourbons as their household chef, walking around, traveling, finding game and bringing them back and cooking them for the most part. Took the Dricken under my wing as a teaching him around with animals and nature.
Very good. And then last but not least, we have Thor here to my left.
Yes. I am I am playing Sheldray, the tiefling major domo of the household, the always loyal and always loyal servant of the Bourbon family, a cleric of Vokeen, here to ensure that of the household is run smoothly and that our trade can be and business can be conducted in peace, so that coin may flow through Waterdeep and the family may prosper. So it is my job to make sure that everyone here, except of course the young lady, is doing the job properly.
Yes, indeed. So, I believe as we get started off here, first things first, we sort of see paint the picture of the city as it is now. We see this aerial sort of like bird's eye view of the grand city of Waterdeep, a jewel of the north, city of splendors upon the coast. And it is a bright, clear, sort of late summer, early autumn day. Kind of like balmy temperatures, the breeze from the sea kind of wafting in, and we hear the sort of like calming sounds of the ocean waves kind of like lapping against the shores, and the sort of like gulls flying in the air, and we can see the crowds of people swarming like ants through the streets, the busy, crowded streets of Waterdeep. And as this sort of scene goes over, we sort of pan over a large, sort of like 3-story building deep in the heart of the castle ward. This busy sort of tavern, and as we sort of like swing down, we see the sign at the entryway. There's a picture of a well, and then the name, the Yawning Portal, the famous inn and tavern here in the heart of Waterdeep. And as we sort of enter in, we see the party seated at a table near this sort of like roaring hearth fire, and Valerie, the reason that you are here in this place, you received a message from somebody just yesterday, your sister, Alexei, asking to meet with you here for some particular reason. And you have been here now for maybe 30 minutes, going on an hour, awaiting her arrival. She was supposed to have been here by now. You had brought a retinue just to see to your protection, as the Yawning Portal is quite close to the unsavory areas of the dock ward, and the dangers that lie within it. So you thought to bring some protection, both your own idea as well as your mother's sort of pushing, just to make sure that you are safe. So we see you all gathered around this table, and as you are, you can see that there are a number of plates that you have kind of been picking at. They're cleared of food, half drained tankers. You hear the sounds of gamblers yelling and drunken adventurers singing bawdy songs, nearly drowning out the off-key strumming of a young bard who's sitting like 3 tables over. Quite clearly doesn't really know what he's doing. And then suddenly, as you're all sat there, there is a noise that kind of eclipses everything else. This large shout from a man, and it says, "You pig, like killing me mates, does ya?" And as you turn to look, you see this 7-foot tall half orc woman just suddenly get hit by this wild like haymaker punch from this male human who stands maybe like a foot to a foot and a half shorter than she does. And she just sort of like takes it on the chin, like barely moving. And then you see that there are 4 other humans sort of like standing behind him, ready to jump into the fray. And you see like the half orc kind of like cracking her knuckles, kind of like ready to leap into action. People all around like begin like looking. Spectators begin crowding around, and you can see as this all breaks out, and there's obviously like this fight about to happen. The man who instigated this, as it were, becomes a little bit more visible, and you see he's just completely like bald headed, like shaved head, and the top of his head is covered in this array of eye shaped tattoos. And as this crowd is drawing, as like this battle is about to rage, what do you do? How do you all react to this situation?
I mean, I'd be like, well, this doesn't concern me.
I will.
And I'll just continue to wait.
Assuming that we are all there, I will keep an eye on the situation as it unfolds, but try to keep us out of this. No.
Yeah, so you're all right about
Shit,
down
look at
here.
the well.
Yep.
Oh shit! It's back.
There's a map.
Oh,
And
Why
that's
is this
the-
well
the
so
fight is
big?
breaking out over
There's
here.
not a map.
Yeah, we're on the map now.
We're on a
I
map
know.
right now.
I'm still on the Waterdhavian Dragon Heist page.
Oh,
Why
because
you
you're
sending a
you need to
portal down
rejoin
there
as a
where-
you need to rejoin the game as a player, my friend.
I did. I did that last time.
No, you have to do it every time.
Do I really?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, cancer. All right. Oh, dude,
Unfortunately.
look! Wow, it's a well.
Yeah,
I'll
what's with
also
the well?
say
It's not a well. It's the big portal, the dungeon crawling that people go down. They explained
Which
last
is the
time we were
well.
here.
Yes,
Uh,
which is well.
Yeah, but it doesn't go down to water. It goes down to a
Hey,
dungeon.
Brad, how deep is it?
Pretty deep. Few hundred feet.
You guys
Yeah, you
want to
have
go
to-
down?
You have to pay to go down.
You do.
And
Yes.
What?
also,
This is bullshit.
And a lot of people don't come up.
and a lot of people. I mean, we have no business there. We have no business there either, Lady Bobon.
To what's happening around us, Dricken is basically looking at Sir Reginald and Basic for a cue of what to do. He's unsure. Perking his feathers.
hand sign, just calm down. Like, not our business, but I'm also keeping an eye on it, make sure he doesn't come too close to the table.
Quiet. Unless they come over here and involve us directly, we have no reason to do anything.
I'm a whole like one of my paws are like leaning on the sword, just like I'm crouching down. But if something happens, shit's happening.
All right. So as you all sit there, kind of hanging back, you see like this crowd kind of like swarms in. You all notice basically kind of like looking around. The bar's sort of barkeep and proprietor Durnan is nowhere to be seen at the bar currently. You would know, at least some of you would know from experience, that this sort of thing probably wouldn't carry on very long were he here actually watching. But it seems as though they have picked a good time to erupt in this fight. And so you see that as the fight breaks out, it becomes, because you're not like, unless you guys like move up, it becomes very difficult to see what's going on behind the like circle of people that surround this fight that's going on. But you can hear like the shouting of battle as they just appear to be sort of like going at it with fists. There's a loud kind of like cracking noise as the half-orc woman knocks the shade-headed man just onto the floor, clearly like unconscious. And suddenly like the four companions that were with him begin to like swarm on her, and it becomes quite clear like pretty quickly that she is like outmatched, and they just by numbers alone are going to probably overwhelm her if nobody interferes.
Did we know what happened in the beginning, like why this broke out?
No, all you heard was like the shout, and then like the man like punched her.
Oh yeah, the guy was like, "Oh, so you like killing my friends, do you?" And
Basically,
that's what
yeah.
started it. Yeah.
I look over at them like, she's really outmatched. We're really gonna leave her to her own?
I looked at the. You said the barkeeper is nowhere near you.
Yeah, he is not currently at the bar. Maybe he's in the back room or something like that, but currently he's nowhere to be seen.
Fine. I get up.
I get up.
It's none of our business. What are we doing?
I look over there at Sheldrake, but like,
Yeah, I look at I look at Valerie, like at Reginald, and I look over at Reginald and like give him nods to just ready up, ready your weapons,
I guess
Or
we're
whatever.
doing it.
and says
Yep.
like,
Sheldrake, talk some sense into them. What are we doing?
and I say I look at Valerie and say, be aware that any altercations wouldn't look good on the Bone family, but it says so. Do not do anything that will get us into trouble.
Yeah, I get it. We're not gonna kill anyone.
All right. So as you all sort of step up, making your way towards the fight, the crowd kind of like disperses just to like give you room, because you clearly seem to be like, up to something. And let us all roll initiative.
Well, I was hoping I could just go in and talk him down.
Yeah, I was thinking about talking at first.
try it on your turn. You gotta try it on your
Yeah,
turn.
try it on your
Gotta
turn.
try out my turn. Gotta try out my turn. Hey, my turn might be going quite soon, actually.
Oh yeah, I fucking have a cane. I forgot about that. There we go.
Nice. Good one.
Ah, 4. I
Oh,
love
yeah.
The
four.
classic.
Our
classic
charisma
Thor.
talker goes last.
Fuck you, Valerie.
I have-
I'm better than you.
I have a cane and a little bit of a limp. I suppose.
Valiant. Better than you.
All right, so Dricken, you are the first here.
Well, I am. My lady, are you sure we're supposed to do this? This is none of my business.
Not, but I figure I may as well try and break up the fight, have a word with them. See if we can get them to stand down.
All right, if you say so. So move closer. That. And I'll. Fuck. Screw it. I'll go up here and I'll try to actually grapple him.
All right.
One ahead of him, and try to like pull him off and away.
Excellent.
Oh, I got
Ignore that.
physical on turn 1.
Go
But
ahead
it's
and
non-lethal physical.
make an athletics check as you're trying to
Oh,
grapple
God.
him.
That was not my strength.
I hate you so much.
Why is everything
Could
rolling?
you stop?
Why is everything rolling hidden? Oh well. I don't know how to fix it right now. Yeah, so you walk up behind him, trying to sort of like grab him from behind, but he hears you sort of like your claws, sort of your clawed feet, kind of like scratching against the floor. He hears you coming and kind of like ducks to the side, so your arms kind of like swing to the space to the side of him, and he's just like, "Oi, piss off!"
You gotta stop fighting.
Oh, basic.
Why has no one
He's
made
the
Ultra
basic.
Instinct Shaggy into a D&D mob yet?
They
hate
have.
you.
They 100% have. It exists. I've
It
seen it.
100% is that out there.
I have seen it.
We need to find it.
Ultra Instinct.
We need a session where we just do a gauntlet of a bunch of bullshit characters like that.
Like
Alright,
fucking
I-
meme characters.
Shaggy stat block. 5e D&D.
You know Johnny Rotten would be like the final boss.
All right, Morton.
Yeah.
Thank you, Thor.
I will walk up there. I'm like, hey, break this up. I'm just like pushing them
Did
to
that
the side.
convince them,
Like,
Brad?
I'm pushing them to the side and go like, hey, break it up. It's-
Which side, left or right? If you do right, you're gonna push him into the well.
Just not
Yeah.
pushing him. I'm just scoffing them to the side here. I'm not like pushing him into the well.
How's Valerie been? Has she told us how she feels about us killing people?
I mean, like Sheldrick did just say, like, let's
Try
not
not to.
make. Yeah, try not to.
After all, like, if you get into trouble, with the authorities, we are, according to contract, not responsible for anything.
Yeah. So this sort of like thuggish brute turns to you and says, "What business is it of yours? She killed our mates. We're here to get revenge."
I'm trying to eat in peace. No.
Valerie.
Yep. So I suppose like I'll come up. Now, and they've said all that, so I'll come and say, correct. All of you, take this business of yours, this thuggish brutishness is far beyond us. Either settle it another day, or don't do it here.
Please tell me you got
And-
on a table to do that.
Would that be like a persuasion or something, or intimidation?
Or
Yeah,
intimidating?
you can make a persuasion check at disadvantage.
Well, it's worth a shot.
Oh
They
shit!
aren't they aren't exactly in the mood to
A
listen.
12.
That's
I
not
don't,
shit.
I don't have intimidation proficiency yet. Oh well.
I don't either.
We have a
Let's
barbarian.
see here.
I don't have intimidation either.
No,
I'll
you
say a 12 in this situation is insufficient to persuade them to steer from their course. They seem pretty hell-bent on what they were doing, especially considering that their leader just got cold-cocked and knocked unconscious. They're in for a little bit of blood, as it were.
Sorry, I'm not a charisma barbarian, guys.
And in fact,
Charismarian.
you see now that they are all sort of drawing weapons from their side. They have scimitars that they're all kind of like drawing.
Have
Reginald.
I taken my action, or can I still take my action?
Yeah, that was like an action to kind of stand there and like try
Alright.
to convince them.
I suppose Alexei would like the funny thing, Valerie. upon seeing that, she'd like take a step back. I'm like, oh, turn around. I think it escalated.
Very good, Lady Bourbon. Very good.
Oh, Reginald.
I'll move up next to Valerie because I only have 25 feet of movement speed, and that's as far as I can do. I do have my warhammer out, and like kind of like the shield like ready to come out as well, just kind of like. And then I'll look up at the young mistress and be like, "What shall it be?"
Well, if they've drawn their weapons, I see no reason to keep ours unsheathed.
So you wish to intervene?
And like I say, at this point, yes.
Very well. And then that's my turn because I can't do anything else. I walked my 25 feet.
All right.
But you see me like getting ready.
Yes. So you see these thugs, the two that have like turned to face with you, and the other two that are kind of like flanking the half orc woman. You see those two that are on either side there kind of shout to the others like, "Deal with these interlopers. We'll hold her down." And they are going to try to kind of grapple her with a concerted effort. So they will be using the help action to do so. So that's that. She will try to resist. Okay. Yeah. So you see, despite her like large physique and obviously like well-built musculature, 2 versus 1, has this hard time like getting out of the way, and they manage to sort of like grab her, like holding her arms behind her back, looking like the other one's getting ready to kind of like trip her and knock her to the ground. Meanwhile, the other two have sort of like drawn weapons in like a show of like force, and they're kind of like poised, like looking at you. They like kind of like draw them in front of their face, like with this wicked grin, and they seem poised to strike, and they say, "What'll it be? Are we gonna have to do this the hard way, or are we going to piss off and mind your own business?" Meanwhile, the half orc kind of like lets out this loud like "Ah!" and like tries to break free from the grasp of her captors. 17.
I need to get stronger bonus.
And just as soon as they sort of pile onto her and like grab her, she throws the both of them off. The one to her right, almost sort of like stumbling back and like nearly falling into the well. But he manages to like catch himself like just in time. And then she sort of like turns, drawing this like wicked mace, and he says, "You cowards! 4 versus 1! Ha!" Sheldrake.
Alright, so I'll put down the cup I was holding. I'll walk up here to this woman, or man, or whoever this bystander is here. And I will say, "Could you please be so kind as to call upon the city guard?
Oh,
Just we would. It seems these thugs will not be persuaded to leave the peace well be."
Yeah, so you walk up this half elf man. He just sort of like nods and kind of like begins running off to the entrance to go and call.
And then
call the
I'll
guard.
walk up here and says, "Reginald, Rick, and Basic, please subdue these ruffians." And I will also chant a little bit I like to point at these two, and be and says like, and you please be subdued, and I will cast Sapping Sting. I shall cast Sapping Sting on the one to the right, but because of my domain feature, this will also this will also be able to affect the one to the left. So they both should need to make with
Okay.
Constitution saving throws.
Just before that, as soon as you sort of begin casting the spell and making motions at them, they will use their ready attacks, striking
yes.
at Dricken and Basic, one at each of you. So, Dricken,
Thanks a lot, Sheldrick.
I still don't know how to not hide this. So, whatever. Swing at you is a 10, so that'll miss. And then Basic, they swing at you is a 7, so it also kind of like misses wide. And then what is that? A con save for them both?
That's a con save for them both.
Okay.
Oh yeah, the DC is not written.
I don't
Yeah, it
actually
is. It's
see
on the
any
bottom.
rolls if you.
So it's a
No, they're
DC
all hidden. I can't
DC
okay.
14.
can't figure out on these shoots how to unhide it. It used to be like a little tab at the top, and this is a little bit more. 14. So first one is a 16. That is a success, and the second one on the left there is a 5, which is very much not a success.
So so that one takes 2 necrotic damage and falls prone.
Product damage.
Martin, mute your girlfriend.
Yeah.
Mute your girlfriend.
Sure. I don't think that's how it works, but sure.
Just take a gag or something.
All right. Suddenly, like weak in the knees, he just sort of like collapses, kind of onto the ground on all fours, coughing up blood. Dricken, you see the man in front of you suddenly just sort of collapses forward as if struck by some sort of foul spell.
So he's prone?
Yes.
He's prone.
Perfect. I'll do a slashy slash on him, non-lethal. Actually, I'll just punch him. So I'll clench my
The talents
four-pronged
up.
talons.
Non-lethal talons.
Yeah.
Non-lethal talents.
Oh!
Crit!
That's a crit.
Dang!
Nice.
All right. So you sort of see this this opportunity here as he falls to his knees, and in one fluid motion, you sort of swiftly bring your fist down right across, kind of like the base of his jaw, and in one punch, just sort of knock him out cold, like a loose tooth kind of goes flying out onto the floor, covered in blood as you do so, knocking him out cold.
Remind me, someone. Do monks have?
Bonus, you get a bonus on auto attack from the start.
Yeah.
Your
from
martial
the
art
start.
feature.
Okay, so I knocked him out. Okay. I'll move up to this fellow, and I'll like do some kind of
Pit
kick,
stop.
an axe kick.
Axe kick.
Damn.
The
okay.
nut-
The Nutcracker.
Yeah. 7 damage if that hit.
7 damage. Yeah, 21 definitely hits these guys. They are wearing just regular kind of leather armors. Thuggish leather armor.
I'm really sorry. I have to do what I'm told.
You're a slave?
I mean, he did you listen to his backstory? He was apparently an egg that the brought up.
Yeah, he
Apparently.
is. God.
Oh,
So
basic.
apparently he is a slave. I was not aware.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not treated as a slave, but I know nothing else.
See, he's
Oh
obviously
my God.
we have to pay him in accordance with the worker labor laws, but
Yeah. We have
He-
unionized, just so you know.
He's adopted, okay? Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
Those are basically slaves.
Indentured servitude.
He's part of the family, but not entitled to any of the benefits of being part of the family.
Oh, basic. You're up.
and if you're in trouble,
yeah.
the morality clause will see your contract terminated.
Yeah, I'm just gonna pull my swords and just give me a second. the favorite enemy thing, does that actually cost something to do?
The one from Tasha's, basically you activate it when you hit somebody.
Yeah,
It
that's
doesn't
what I
cost
thought.
an action. You just
No.
activate it when you hit.
Yeah, that's what I was reading on it. I wasn't really sure, but okay. Then I'm just pulling out the short sword.
And you can use
it's non-lethal, obviously.
and you can use the favorite enemy a number of times equal to a proficiency bonus. So currently you can use it 2 times between long rests.
Okay.
Hey, basically, we're rolling well.
All right, a 22 is most definitely a hit.
Yeah.
Go ahead and if you click on the short sword, it'll roll damage.
Right. I forgot about that whole thing.
So 6 and then an additional D4. If you would roll that for me.
No, I can only use it 2 times per long rest. I'm not using
You can use it. Yeah, you can use it 2 times per long rest.
Okay,
and it
yeah.
lasts
If
1
you
minute.
don't want to use it, that's fine.
These were humans, right? Not dwarves.
Yeah, these are all humans.
Right.
Then offhand.
13 is a hit.
Still non-lethal.
So you're just pummeling this dude in the face with the pommel of your sword.
The blunt side, just slapping him. Just.
The
yeah,
backside
that's
of the blade.
That definitely
Backside of the blade.
wouldn't break the sword. Yeah, so two hits, but this guy, he seems like pretty sturdy. You're unable to knock him down quite with just that. But he's like looking pretty beat up and bruised. Valerie.
I can't non-lethal Ray of Frost, so I guess I'm just gonna have to go up and hit him with my dagger.
Backhand him.
Just slap him.
Alright,
Do the
non-lethal
flail thing.
dagger.
Fucking hell! Everyone should have gotten tavern brawler feet.
For this one tavern scene, it's not worth it.
The game starts with a tavern brawler. It's gonna end like this as well. Sure.
All right, so you run up like dagger drawn, just like swinging, and the bandit kind of like ducks out of the way, smirking, kind of like laughing at you. He's like, "You're a little bit out of your element here, aren't you, pretty lady?" He says, "Go back."
Reginald!
Oh, so I like this. I like this thing now.
So Reginald's gonna boom, and I'm gonna squeeze in here, standing on top of this human.
Yes, milady.
He's just reeling on the ground, kind
It's
of
like,
like
you called,
unconscious.
mistress. And then the guy, I'm assuming it was this guy who said it.
Yes.
I'm gonna, you know what? I was thinking like, should I save my rages? I only have 2, but what's the point of saving them?
We don't need rage to deal with this.
Exactly. So I'm gonna cast rage.
Cast rage.
Well, I don't cast it.
Is that a somatic component?
And
Knock them out.
I missed.
I cast.
Wait, do I have an advantage on that since it's an attack?
If you
No.
And I rage.
If you do
it's a-
the
it's a-
reckless attack.
It's at
Yeah, you
second
don't have
level
that.
you
Yeah.
get reckless.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Got it. Well, I missed.
Unfortunately, your wide overhead swing kind of easily predicted the bandit just sort of ducks out of the way.
I'm sorry, mistress. Don't put me on the street.
Oh,
Don't whip
man.
me.
I was about to ask what kind of barbarian are you, but then I remembered that's a third level thing.
Yeah.
All right. So these thugs, the one that hasn't taken a hit, kind of like shouts to the other one and says, "You told me she didn't have any friends." It's like, "What the hell is this?" And he kind of like draws his scimitar. And he's just like, "Forget it. Just deal with her." And they are going to attack. These two that were on her are just going to attack her. And then the one that is kind of fighting the three of you is just going to go after the one who hit him. So he'll go after basic. So first 2 attacks against the orc lady.
Oh, I didn't mean to hit that again. Sorry.
First one misses, second one hits. And then the last one will be against Besic.
I'm gonna intercept that one as my reaction.
Okay.
Which, if you want to read it.
Okay, that's if it hits.
Ah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
if
if
it
it
even hits.
I guess I should wait.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you rolled the
a-
fighting style, yes.
Yeah, I brought a
tw-
fighting.
It rolled a 20, so it would hit. So
Oh.
yes, you can reduce.
1d10 plus 2.
That is enough to negate the damage.
No matter what.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it was negated.
Yeah, I only rolled 2 damage, so.
I'll just catch his hand or something, I guess.
Yeah, he just like catches like hand like mid swing, and he's just
Like, no, over here, young man.
All right. So yeah, this half orc sort of finishes, like breaking out from the hold, just sort of like looking at this scene, and smirking. She turns to the thug that's on her right, and she says, "Why don't you go back where you came from? Send your boss my regards." And you see she pulls her like whole form back, and then just full body shoves the person in front of her.
No!
Well, we don't know which way she's facing.
Ah, true.
Maybe she didn't shove him into the well. Maybe it's this guy.
It makes more
No,
sense.
she said the one on her right. Oh wait,
Oh.
Yeah, so she throws her full body into this thug, and you see he goes like stumbling backwards, and his legs, the back of his legs catch the edge of the well, and he just tumbles over like backwards, and you like very rapidly see him like disappear out of sight, and then you just hear a scream, like Wilhelm scream, echoing up from the well, and then just sort of like a few moments later, this loud like sort of thud. As he hits the bottom. A few moments later.
Andrew.
Sheldrake.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's not fine.
It's a plant.
Well, I suppose. And he just like sort of like mumbling to himself as he's like, that sees this guy having been. I was just like, oh, I suppose we're gonna have to be in the hammer.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, out of sight, out of mind. He'll walk up here, as he's walking, like drawing his scimitar, and says, I would suggest it's prudent that you all surrender. I would say, if I use thaumaturgy, I can't use intimidation, right, as an action? Because thaumaturgy, I'm pretty sure, is a action, because I could use thaumaturgy to like increase the volume of my voice.
I would say that it's one of those things where you could probably use it as part of like the
All right.
part of like an intimidation check.
Then I would like to use thaumaturgy to increase the volume of my voice as I like put my like rapier like towards like this tug, and it's just like I believe that surrender would be a prudent action, and I will try to intimidate these people.
All right, go ahead and
People.
roll an intimidation check.
Fuck.
All right. It would seem
Sheldrake's
like over the like din, even though your voice is like amplified, with the sounds of the crowd kind of that is gathered around, people sort of like shock, like kind of like gasping in shock, and the sounds of the battle, it seems your voice sort of goes either unheard or ignored, as these thugs do not seem to be ready to give in just yet. All right. So then we are back to Driggin.
Everyone saw that wasn't us, right? We didn't push him. And I'll do a non-lethal hook to the body. Fuck it then.
ends. Well, fours
Double tens.
technically.
You still get the bonus action anyway.
Yeah, the swing misses. He ducks out of the way.
I'll kick him in the gonads. Damn it!
One better.
5.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he sees this coming and very quickly sort of like twists his body to the side to avoid getting kicked in the groin.
Flank
Send
a
my
little bit
first
so they
bar
can run
roll.
away.
Back to Basic and Morton.
who's still up? Oh, yeah, I'll just
There are
knock out the
two
guy.
of them.
Yeah, the guy in front of me. I'll just go for him. Oh.
No, you won't.
Well,
There.
hit with that one.
Non-lethal, obviously.
All right, he is still up. He is just barely kind of like dodging these attacks, taking a lot of glancing blows.
Not his first barb roll.
Yeah, he's
We're tenderizing him.
he's like imperfect Ultra Instinct. You know, he gets like hit every so often.
The chef is used to tenderizing meat.
They usually don't fight back.
No.
Oh, Valerie.
Pommel straight to the kidney. Wow.
So,
this is
I've
no
seen Draken
place
use
for
this
you.
maneuver.
This is no place for you, young lady.
Yeah.
Go back home to your swaddled babe. Reginald.
So Reginald, I would like to try to finish off the guy who is basically down. Okay. For 11, 12, 13 damage.
Nice. Yeah,
So,
you easily.
can I just like punch him? I'm short, so I'm assuming I'm just like basically punching him in the gut with the like hammer, and he starts to fall backwards, and I just want to like catch him and just pull him back forward from falling backwards into the thing.
Yeah, totally. You can do that.
Grumble, 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 grumble.
And then it's like, please be careful, young mistress.
I'm fine.
Of course.
The annoyance.
And then I turned my attention to this guy, and I'm going to get in front of him. So
And
Also remember-
even
Valerie
Raging, he's so
can't.
eloquent.
I mean, you don't have to be like, you can flavor rage differently. That's my secret. I'm just always raging.
He's
I only
fancy
get the benefits on occasion.
All right. So the last standing member of this group of thugs just sort of like looks at himself, sort of like surrounded, and you see he sort of like clicks his tongue in frustration, and he says, "You don't know who you're messing with. You're in big trouble. Understand me? Well, no matter what happens, all eyes will be on you, and you won't like it." And he's just going to lash out at Draken, who has been kind of attacking him.
But I missed.
One last desperate swing, but he also sort of ducks wide. And then Yagra sort of shouts, and she says, "You can shove it up your blowhole." And she is going to swing her mace at him twice, and with the second swing, clocks him over the back of the head and knocks him to the ground unconscious. And then as he falls to the ground, sort of like blood kind of like streaming from his mouth, a few teeth kind of like knocked loose, she just sort of like spits on him and says, "Good riddance." And at this point, the crowd has sort of like risen in volume like quite a bit. But she sort of like turns to all of you, says, "Do I know you?"
No. However, we saw the fight ongoing, and you seem to be a bit outmatched. Thought it'd be our duty to intervene and prevent any further bloodshed. And she looks down the well. Though, I see that part didn't end up so well.
You really shouldn't have pushed that man.
Nobody will miss them. Scum. Says, "I would have been fine. I appreciate the help, though."
Well, the city guard should be along shortly. Says, and I look towards like Valerie. I still have my rip in. I look towards like Valerie. Is like look towards the half orcs. And you did just murder a man.
Yes, the guard will want to ask questions.
Questions I ain't gonna be around to answer.
I would suggest for your sake that remain where you are and don't make any sudden moves.
She just sort of like raises an eyebrow and says like, "What, are you gonna arrest me? Citizen's arrest, is that it?" Kind of like gripping her mace. And here I thought we were off to a beautiful friendship. And you see she's sort of like, she's kind of like rippling, like purposely like kind of like rippling her muscles. And you see that as she like does so, her the sleeve of her shirt kind of like pulls back a little bit, and you see tattooed like on her forearm, just above like the wrist, what appears to be like a tattoo of a black snake, like a black winged snake.
Look, there's no reason for any further bloodshed. From the looks of things, these men attacked you unprovoked. So once the guard gets here, you can answer the questions to them, and there'll be no reason for any further violence.
Do I recognize the tattoo?
No.
Okay.
Do I recognize the tattoo?
That you acted in self-defense.
Anyway, can I do a persuasion roll or something like that?
What did you say?
Well, I said I said to her, these men attacked. From our perspective, it looks like they attacked you in mass, unprovoked. So once the guard gets here, we'll, tell them what we saw, and then we imagine you can sort this out. But there's no reason that we have to go into any further violence.
Can I assist him somewhere? And I told her that we can talk to her.
Says like, and it isn't for. I will start sheathing my rapier, and sorry for interrupting you there, Mike. But I will sheath my rapier and says like, and it was unfortunate that that man was too intoxicated to see where his footing took him.
She sort of like laughs and she says, "Perhaps we could get along after all. Fine, I'll stick around." And he says,
But who were these men anyway? Oh, who are these men? Like, they're still breathing, I'm pretty sure.
And she sort of like looks to them, like kicking one of them in the side, and she says, "Scum of the earth, the underbelly of the city, Xanathar Guild."
Criminals?
Guild. Would we know who they are, Brad?
Oh, everybody has heard of the Xanathar Guild, yeah.
Yeah, I would imagine everyone in Waterdeep. If you're a regular at Waterdeep, you know who the Santa's guilds are.
Yeah, they're like
So is that like
Could James get a little introduction?
it's sort of like this kind of like mafia-esque kind of thing, right? That it's like seedy underground, like organized crime, and rumors are that it is all run by a beholder crime boss in the Undercity.
Nothing but rumors.
It is like the Thieves Guild of Waterdeep.
Mm-hmm.
No,
And what-
we got not
and what-
looked into.
And what grudge did these thieves have against you?
And he says, "I think they disagreed with what some of my associates have been doing to them. Of course, they're the ones that started this all."
Are
Your
you and your
associates?
associates competitors to these folks?
Suppose you could say that, in a way. Not that they were,
What does that do to me?
not that we were getting involved in any of their business.
What does that do?
Either way, this is no place to talk about these sorts of things. As you're kind of like doing this, the crowd is sort of like gathered around, is sort of like mumbling to each other about like what to do. You hear a voice coming from back towards the bar, and you see a man sort of like emerging from out behind the back room. This large, sort of like 6 foot tall human man, well built, sort of like rippling muscles, and he just says, all right, what's going on out here? What's all the commotion?" And people immediately just sort of like turn and see Durnan, the proprietor of the yawning portal, entering forth, and they immediately like begin like scattering, returning to where they were, returning to their seats, as he sort of like comes out from behind the bar to just sort of like investigate what's going on here, and sees the like people, like the unconscious forms on the ground, and he just sort of like rubs his temple like, not again.
Ali will
dark
say,
into the well? Can you see down the well, or is it like dark?
You can see as far as your dark vision will allow, and then it is just dark beyond that. It goes.
Yeah, I'm thinking like if someone didn't see a body fall down there, they wouldn't like see it from the top, unless they have.
Oh no
dark
chance,
vision.
unless they had like some crazy dark vision. Yeah.
Like Alquill Dark Vision, perhaps even more.
Yeah.
yeah.
So I will walk
Valley
up to approach Dornan.
And he's just sort of like folding his arms.
So it's just like seems to have been some altercation here. I'd look at what like conscious bodies. Senator men attacked one of the other patrons as she was clearly outmatched and there was weapons being involved. Our lady thought it prudent that we helped subdue these ruffians.
Quite.
Yeah, so he sort of like looks at it and says, not content to just bloody the streets, they had to come and dirty my tavern floor too, huh?
Worry not, the guard are on their way.
And he just sort of like shouts like, Bonnie, we need a cleanup out here. Get the mop and bucket. And you see this female figure, sort of this tavern wench, as it were, sort of like emerge from the back room, and she says, aye, and kind of like disappears again. And he says, right, well, the watch is on their way. I suppose we can stand here and observe the goings on. And he says, this has been happening more and more lately, and I'm getting sick of it.
Have we heard, out of character, would we have heard of any like news of like increased criminal activity, or is this news to us?
Sheldrake probably would have, just being somebody who like keeps up on like the goings on of the city as part of your like job, basically. There has definitely been increased tensions, like gang violence in the streets, especially in the dock ward. Not so much the rest of the city, but in the dock ward in particular, there has been kind of like clashes between the Xanathar Guild and the Zentarim, and you have heard of these clashes.
Okay. It's just like
It's been going on for maybe like a month or two at this point. Just slowly escalating.
Yes, I've heard of the escalating activity. It seems the Black Network and the Senators are having some sort of feuds. He like raises an eyebrow at Durnan. Has it been affecting your business?
He just sort of like laughs and he says, my business, not even the end of the world would affect my business. Most famous tavern in the entire Sword Coast. And he says, no, but it's been dragging in a lot of unsavory sorts I'd rather not have in my establishment. And as this conversation is like going on, you're all still like waiting for the watch. Suddenly, you all hear like a scream from like behind you, back towards like where you guys were seated. And as you turn around, you see people fleeing from the edge of the well, kind of like in a desperate panic, getting away. And there is this large sort of clawed green arm that sort of sticks up, grabbing the edge of the well, and you see pulling itself up from the well this horrific figure with warty green skin and this tangled nest of wiry black hair, long carrot-shaped nose, and bloodshot eyes. And you see emerging from the well a large troll.
Dragon.
What the fuck?
Okay. Anyone else having some listening to the flashback? No.
There's always a troll. Why is
You
there
see,
always a troll?
you see that
It's
there
alright, there's not a fruit.
there are
in the dungeon.
there are what appear to be a half a dozen bat-like creatures like attached to its body, with three more circling above it like flies. Everybody in the tavern reacts in fear, running for their lives, except for Durnan, who just shouts "Troll!" and he like begins running behind the bar looking for something. Let me delete the bandits, and we
Can
can
I
just go ahead.
grab Valerie and pull her backwards?
Yeah.
Or is it initiative time?
It is definitely initiative time.
Are we re-rolling or keeping what we did?
We can
Imagine
just keep what
re-rolling.
we can re-roll.
Oh.
Yeah, that's fine. Whatever. Re-roll. Keep what you did. All right, we're re-rolling. Sheldrake has decided.
Sheldrick, what's a better initiative than both?
I like how I rolled nat 1 and I'm still higher than Thor.
I have a -1 dexterity, you know.
Yeah, I figured, but you know, still funny.
Dex and strength are I'm not good at.
Is there like a global option I can change that like makes all rolls not whispers?
In the Roll20, like, let's see. I'll check my own game that uses this kind of.
I'm pretty sure you're able to set default settings for sheets in the actual campaign where you select the sheets.
Yeah, if you go in the game settings, I'm just gonna check game default settings. That's the token and sheet setting. What about the sheets? Yeah, there is the default sheets.
I don't even want to bother at this time because I'm not gonna use my pellets and people. Well, one guy that can kill.
You have to go into like in the Roll20 in the app Roll20.net and then whatever campaign it is, game settings, and then down in sheet settings, there should be one where it says Whisper Rules to GM.
All right. I'll change that later. So, first and foremost, as this troll emerges from the well, and these strange, like bat-like creatures sort of clinging to it and buzzing nearby, kind of come flying out from within. Durnan shouts and leaps behind the bar, and you see he reaches down underneath the bar and pulls out a weapon, and you see he kind of like hefts this massive kind of two-handed great sword onto his shoulder, and then leaps over the bar, charging towards the troll. And he sort of like shouts, and he says, "I'll take care of the troll. You take care of the Sturges."
Are those the bat things?
Yes.
Yes, Sturges are those like bloodsuckers.
Through context clues, we deduce that the sturgeons are the bat thing.
Yes, and as they begin to swarm up, you see the half dozen or so of them that are currently like attached to the troll all look sort of like super bloated. They like detach and begin like slowly like buzzing off back down the well. But the three that were sort of like circling above sort of like begin spreading out, like looking for prey. One of them sort of immediately like descends down towards one of the commoners that's kind of like fleeing from the area. Another one sort of coming towards Basic, and then this other one kind of like flying down past here to another of these fleeing commoners. Basic, one of them is going to sort of attack you with this like large kind of like proboscis. Rolling a 9, so that will not hit you.
Oh, it won't.
And then the other two going after the commoners. What is their AC? Actually, managed to these folks just barely managed to like duck their heads out of the way, and these bat-like things go like swarming above them, just barely missing. Valerie.
Yep. So, even though I'm an artificer and I have spells, I don't use magic, do I? I use like little inventions and stuff.
Yeah, I think that's how it kind of goes.
Okay. So I guess like I pull out of my cloak like a little glass flask that has like this bright glowing cyan liquid in it. And I suppose I'll throw one at one of these little bats over here, and that will be a ray of frost.
Alright, which one are you throwing it at?
This one.
That one there? Alright, so you
Yeah.
launch out this device, and this ray of frost explodes into this creature, and as it does, you see it kind of like begins to like freeze up, and then falls to the ground, kind of like shattering to pieces.
From 2 damage?
Yeah, they're
They
not
have, like,
very
one hit
they're
point.
not very sturdy. They're tiny little creatures.
One down.
But they are flying in the air, which is somewhat of a problem.
Oh, wow.
Also,
Cricket.
I'm also gonna like move back
If you
here.
didn't have a ranger.
Dricken, you are next.
How high up in the air are they flying?
Well, the one that's right here is basically like at ground level because it attacked Basic. This other one kind of like swooped over this commoner's head and then kind of like went back up maybe about like 10-15 feet. It's kind of hovering about at the second floor of the tavern.
Alright, I'll walk up to this one.
All right, kind of
Gonna do,
standing over the edge of the well.
Yeah, Talon Slash. 17.
That's a hit.
5 bludgeoning damage.
Yeah, so
that's
with
the
that,
slashing. Sorry.
you rake your claws. There's sort of like an explosion of blood, and the creature's limp body sort of very quickly falls down the well out of sight.
5, 10, 15, 20. I'll take... What's there? We're in trouble, guys!
So, Reginald.
This is the only one that's this is the only one that's left right here.
Yeah, that's the only of the Sturges that is left.
And you said it's like up on the second floor right now, or
Yeah,
in
it's sort
the
of
second floor
at
balcony area?
about like the second floor
Okay, so
level.
I got a clear shot at it then.
Yeah, it's in the open. There's nothing obstructing.
Got it. I'm gonna throw a javelin at it.
Okay. So range of
I
javelin,
miss.
20 feet? Oh, 30 feet.
Wait,
Yeah.
what is it?
You hear a very human-like scream.
Very human-like scream.
I thought javelins were farther. No,
They're 30. But this is 35, so you'd have to step forward a little bit.
You just planted
Either-
in the back of my head.
Either way you miss, but...
yeah.
Yeah, so you throw it and the javelin just sort of like lodges itself on the underside of the balcony of the second floor of the tavern and this tap room.
I am down a javelin. I will not
And
be able to get that back.
You're sort of like thinking to yourself,
Can we say that it fell down so I can get it back?
No, it lodged itself in there, man. Pointed object thrown with force at wood.
Damn. So I have 4 javelins left.
Wait, what happened to
Don't
this
worry,
javelin?
I can fly!
It's stuck in the roof now.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I'm sure we can figure something out.
I splay my wings in front of him. Hello!
Yagra
You can
is going
use
to
those.
charge forward with her mace and swing at the troll. Unfortunately, she is unable to, with her blunt weapon, unable to like get through its thick hide, and it doesn't seem to pay her any mind. She sort of like grunts in anger. Bassic.
Yes, I'll just pull out. Since I probably had sheathed my swords after we kill him, I pull out my longbow, and I just, shoot at this guy, the one down there.
Let's roll above a 1 this time.
You draw a weapon and fire? Or...
I don't think so. Weapon interaction to
Oh
pull it
yeah,
off
it's
and
the
shoot.
shooting and pulling out. That's the problem.
Yeah, you would have to drop your swords to draw it.
but didn't I sheath those after we were like done? Like I
You
said,
might
I
have
sheathed them,
during the conversation, yeah.
Yeah,
Would
that's
make
what I
sense.
mean. Like I've sheathed those, and I pull out my. Yeah, I'm moving down there,
All right.
there, and I shoot this one. Longbow.
Unfortunately, your arrow sort of sails wide, slamming into the far distant wall of the tavern, as the
Okay.
bat kind of does that thing where like it flies oddly, at like weird angles
Yeah.
and ducks out of the way.
And it's small, so
Yeah. Sheldrake.
All right. So let's see. Dealing with those bat things. It has it been injured yet?
That one, no, nobody's hit it.
All right. All right.
You imagine if somebody
So-
had hit it, it would probably be dead.
Probably, yeah. So I will, I grab like a cup from nearby, and I will like put a finger and like tap onto the cup, but instead of like a tap, you hear like a sound of like a bell ringing. As I will
That's
use
so-
Toll the Dead.
Toll the dead.
Yes.
Wisdom saving throw.
Classic.
Ooh. Unfortunately, it rolls exactly a 14
Damn it.
and succeeds.
I will take a step forward to put myself in between the lady and the troll.
I hate it when Sheldrake rings that bell. It's always so creepy.
So the troll finishes pulling itself out of the well, and you see Durnan with his greatsword just sort of says, "I appreciate the fire and passion, lady, but if you're not wanting to get hurt, I suggest you step back." As this troll kind of like lumbers out of the room, Durnan shouting and like banging for its attention. It just turns its eyes towards him and charges in fury. You see, it's like got some like pretty heavy like blots from where these things were like sucking its blood. Like those begin to like close up as the wounds kind of begin to heal a bit.
Want to interject this one, Reginald?
He's not within 5 feet of me, so I can't.
I'll speak it.
I mean, I would just reduce it by 10, by like 1d10 minus 12
Oh,
if I could.
yeah,
I don't
definitely.
take it.
For some reason in my head, I'm meant to remember having read something about it, like hurting you. But
Isn't
I
that
think
a
that
limited
was...
use though?
Yeah, it is a reaction.
It's just a reaction.
Oh.
It's a different protection fighting style, basically.
That's pretty nice.
All right, so the troll will attack Durnan.
I am within feet, which means I cannot get out of the 10 feet from this troll, because it will get an opportunity attack.
Yes.
Okay, you'll be fine.
Yeah, so the troll bites down on Durnan's arm, kind of like piercing through his armor and drawing some blood, but its furious claw slashes afterwards are easily sort of parried back.
Leave it to a 10th level fighter, isn't that what 4 said?
Yeah, he's something like that. I don't know. He's like he's conquered the well, so I'm assuming he's very high level.
Maybe it's like King from One Punch Man. He's just very lucky.
Yeah, so he as he like lifts his greatsword and he says, "Things not gonna stay down long without fire or acid. Take a look around the tap room. Get a torch. Break one of the lanterns. I don't care. We need something to burn it once I get it down."
Isn't this whole place made of wood?
He says, "We'll worry about that after this bleeding thing is dead." And he is going to attack with his greatsword 4 times.
Okay.
Okay, that is a 11. No, fuck, that's a 15th level.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Let us look.
Fighter.
Hit, miss.
Attack protects 2 extra attack. Yeah, it. No,
Is he 20th?
What?
that is a 20th level fighter.
Alright, he's slain God, is what I've been hearing here.
He's a 20th level fighter.
We should recruit this
What?
guy.
If
Would you like a job with the Von Bourbon Estate?
if he has 4 regular attacks, then
All right. The last remaining surge is going to once more dive bomb at the commoners that are still fleeing out of the tap room. Ooh. Yeah, so it swoops down, slamming into the back of one of the commoners with its sort of like kind of like needle-like proboscis, jabbing into it, and you watch as this person almost like kind of like shrivels up in moments as the blood is drawn from them, as it critically hits them and sucks their entire life force away in mere moments.
Kinky.
Get fucked.
Shut up, Zach.
And it is now like quite bloated in size, having basically like desanguinated the entirety of a human male. Adult.
Holy fuck.
In moments. Valerie.
Vile creatures, and I'll throw this at the insect.
All right, that is a hit. So as it is sluggishly sort of partaking in this meal that it had just finished, you hit it with this ray of frost, and this causes the creature to sort of like freeze and explode in a shower of blood that had just been drained. That kind of splatters all over the floor as you slay the last of these sturges. And then it is a Dricken's turn.
You did say find fire.
Yeah, but that's within 10 feet. He will rip me in 3 pieces if I try to move. I'll use the disengage, and I'll walk up to this here. I'll disengage, walk up to this. Can I grab the torch with my bonus action?
Yeah, so you can see that there are sort of like lanterns on hanging on like pillars throughout the tap room. They're a little bit high up, so you'd have to like fly or climb up there to grab it. But you could probably use an action to kind of like grab one off of like pull it off of the wall.
I used my action to disengage from the tree.
Oh yeah, yeah. So it'll take a little bit more because they're secured. So it's not as easy as just like grabbing it. So it'll take some time. You have to
I'll
like, go
basically
up
use my bonus action to fly up and like hang onto it and try to like pull on it.
Okay. Sir Reginald.
Young mistress, do you possess any flames?
I'm afraid not.
Very
Not doing the-
well. I see that there's a one right in front of me here. You say I gotta climb up to get to it?
Yeah, they're on they're on the pillar. And in fact, that one's kind of like almost like being blocked by the large creature too. Like it's basically like right there.
But could I climb up to go get it?
You could try.
How, like, what is it to climb again?
It's an athletics check.
So that's okay. Well, very well. I'm going to climb. 15.
All right, yeah. So you sort of like begin like pulling your way up the pole, kind of like wrapping your short arms and legs around it, kind of like pulling yourself up as best as you can. And you get to like where you could on your next turn like grab the lantern off of its holder and perhaps smash it against the creature if you would like.
Or something like that. Who knows?
But that basically consumes your turn climbing up there.
Yeah, no, I figured. Yeah, you're good.
Iagra, unperturbed by her previous failed attempt to damage this creature, is going to just sort of again swing out. Still somewhat obviously like experiencing the battle high of earlier, just sort of swinging with reckless abandon. But again, like despite her like she looks tough, but despite all this, she doesn't seem able to like penetrate this creature's defenses or damage it in any way. It's like she's hitting a brick wall. Basic.
Oh, is there any like with lamp oil in, like small lamps that you have on the table with lamp oil in?
Not at the moment. It's kind of like the middle of the day.
No, yeah. Okay, so that's a torch right there, right?
Yeah, there's like a lantern basically like hanging on the wall there.
Yeah. Can I use my feline agility, which doubles my movement? Jump up, use an action, grab it, and basically like 20 feet over there and run 35 feet back and just slam it with the fucking thing.
I think that would be a little bit more like pulling it off the wall is going to be an action in and of itself.
Yeah. But okay, running up, grabbing it.
But you have the movement to like do that, but you wouldn't be able to like hit it with it at the same turn.
Yeah, I'll run here then, and just like get ready to just slam it on the next turn.
Sure.
So I've grabbed it. Just yes.
All right, Sheldrake.
All right. Well, we need some flame. Or did Reginald get flame?
You see several of your companions are basically like grabbing, like climbed up on pillars, like grabbing at these like lanterns, desperately trying to like pull them off these lit lanterns so they can like smash them open for fire. So it seems like that's sort of covered.
Yeah, that is being handled very well. Then I shall. Let's see.
This tavern maid, by the way, is taking ages with the mop and bucket. Just putting it out there.
Oh.
It's almost like she heard the screaming and probably thought better of reemerging.
Listen. The barkeeper is a 20th level fighter. She's probably a 20th level wizard.
And then says like, I would just as well, since they have the flame handled. Let me aid you with the troll, and I shall point my finger towards the troll and hope miss as I
And hopefully miss.
and hopefully not miss. I said.
And hopefully not get prone.
Always miss every single time.
Guiding bolt.
A 16
What's
is
that?
a hit.
Yay!
That is a spell.
It's
So,
a spell, James.
It also grants advantage to the next attack on it.
which is
Does
coming from
it?
Durnan.
Yeah.
Because now the troll is illuminated.
He's gonna
It's
have
so bright.
He's gonna have a round of pain, isn't he?
Just gotta hope this motherfucker doesn't knock me off the pole next to him.
As it strikes, Durnan just shouts like, "Ah!" As if the thing wasn't bloody ugly enough when I could barely see it.
I was about to say it's so bright I can see it in the instant.
All right. It does regenerate a bit of that damage that had been dealt with, as it like roars in anger, but continues its assault against Durnan, who seems to have its undivided attention.
Good.
Can't wait until he decapitates him with his Vorpal sword.
+3 Vorpal sword.
If you have time to complain, please dispatch of the troll.
All right. So the bite, Durnan manages to like shove his greatsword into the jaw before it closes. However, the two follow-up claws, these strong, like full-bodied hits, slam into Durnan, and he just sort of like he takes them, but you see he like skids backwards, maybe like a few inches along the floor, and grunts as he takes the brunt of them.
Oh no, 5% of his hit pool, HP pool.
Go Durnan. Go Durnan.
All right, and then it is
He has
his
2
turn.
second wins instead of 20.
I mean, he's not actually a fighter.
Too bad.
Right, so he is going to attack. The first one has advantage, so that hits, and then that one hits, and that misses, and that misses.
Not a fighter.
He probably
I mean,
says
you know,
no
he's like
stat block.
He probably has an NPC.
NPC stat block, right? So he's got his own like.
Oh right.
It's just
know he's badass.
yeah. The reason I say a fighter is because I think Durden was like a fighter PC or something. I believe I've read that's like his. Because I think he's actually like a PC that's made into an NPC.
Yeah. So he.
Gygax's friends.
No, by one of Ed the Greenwoods. This is Forgotten Realms after all.
After
Oh, right.
after enduring the assault of the troll, Durnan sort of braces himself and swings furiously at the troll, sort of pushing it back. This constant like back and forth battle, unable to quite down it, but he gets it like pretty wounded, and he's like shouting like, "Fire! Where's that goddamn fire?" Valerie.
Here.
Dricken's got it.
Ooh. A whopping 6 points of critical damage.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. And if that is all, then it is Dricken's turn.
All right. Can I pull it off? And am I like, how high up am I?
Maybe like 10, 15 feet, basically, like just below the second level of the tavern.
Could I display my wings and like soar towards at the troll and just hit it as I come in?
Yeah, I mean, you could pull it off as like your item interaction or whatever at this point. Kind of like fly over the troll and like dive bomb it. It would functionally be the same mechanically, right? You'll be making an improvised ranged weapon attack.
Yeah.
So it'll just be a d20 plus your dexterity.
Crap.
Think if I
I'm guessing that's a big fat miss.
Yeah, unfortunately, as you sort of like fly over, you misjudge the forward momentum that you were carrying when you threw it, and it ends up flying past the troll and smashing against the table. Let me see here.
Oh no!
I couldn't like hit it with a melee.
I mean, you could, but then you'd be in melee.
Yeah, but I was thinking of flying at him, like literally flying to him, and then.
Sure. I mean, if you want to be in melee with this fire, you most certainly can be.
Well, I mean, fine. I've already thrown it. Okay. So where would I end up with that?
I assume you basically like would fly like just past him, right? So you'd be like up in the air past him.
Can I fly in such a way that he wouldn't get attack opportunity?
Yeah, if you're like if you're throwing it from range, you can just be out of his reach, right? You can just fly out of his reach.
I'll basically fly over the bit there. All right.
Let's see here. The lantern splashes against the table, kind of like shattering into pieces. But it seems like the flame is extinguished rather than sort of like spreading and catching the table on fire.
I brought you fire.
It's a valiant effort. It's Reginald.
So grab lantern. I'm assuming I'm right next to its head.
Yeah, it's like 9-10 feet tall, so you're even 15 feet up. You're within like range where you could grab this lantern and just like smash it on its head if you want.
That's the plan.
All right, that'll be an improvised strength attack.
D20 plus 2.
Come on, Reggie. Reggie.
Apparently not.
Oh my God, we suck.
So you swing at the troll, but out of the corner of its eye, it sees you swinging this sort of like glowing flame at it, and you see the fire kind of like reflecting in its eyes. It like its eyes go like wide, and it quickly like ducks out of the way of this fire, and like
Still have the
there's
fire though.
this look of kind of like anger in its eyes as it sees this flame. Yagra's just sort of like shouting like, "What are you waiting for?" And she like swings at it twice, clobbering it, and you see she like actually manages to hit it in the back of the knee, and this actually kind of like knocks it over, and it kind of like goes falling to the ground, like temporarily like knocking it unconscious. But Durnan sort of like shouts like, "Now's the time!" And he says, "Before it gets back up." Basic.
Okay, quick question. When we were drinking and sitting there earlier, did anyone drink strong alcohol?
That's a question for the group.
Mostly looking at Zach here.
I'm a
Wow, that's
bodyguard
racist.
right
That's
now.
racist,
I take
man.
my duties very seriously, but yes, I had some.
Okay, so would there still be glass with high percentage alcohol there? Would I see you?
Thinking I didn't finish it before I got up to do this.
Yeah, I mean he probably finished it, right?
Like, just like down.
I would have had a glass of wine, which I did specifically say I had to put down before moving.
Yeah. Okay, same shit. Then I just walk up. It's lying down, right?
Yeah, it's been knocked like to the ground. It's like prone and like obviously like unconscious,
Okay.
but regenerated.
Then I just take the lantern and just shove in its face.
All right, you can go ahead and make a strength improvised attack with advantage because it is prone.
Improvised attacks have not been good for us so far.
Unfortunately,
Roll
you are not
D20
proficient with
plus-
lantern. If only you were tavern brawlers.
Oh my God,
Yikes.
210 is it enough, Brad?
No, it's not.
It won't break. Drake, grab the lantern.
Childrick.
Who has the lantern?
One's been broken. Basic has one, and I have one, but I'm
Yeah.
climbed up on top of a pillar right now. Can I drop it to him?
Yeah, I'd say you could use your reaction to drop it as he passes by.
If he informs me
communicates
to.
this,
Yes.
yeah.
So I will walk over and sigh. This troll is unconscious, right? Or
Yeah, so it's currently on the ground, it's still breathing, but it Yagrod knocked the back of its knee out from it, so it's on the ground, splayed out, unconscious, but obviously breathing and its wounds are stitching closed.
If you want something done correctly, and walk over and Reginald, the lantern, please.
Really
Right away,
you're
Shell
missing
Drake.
it now.
And I drop it.
Yeah, I'm setting myself up for failure. I don't have any bonuses to this.
I drop it to him. Does he have to catch it?
It's an
You have
advantage because he's prone.
Oh, yeah, it's advantage, yes.
Oh God, for fuck's sake!
Please tell me a 15 does it.
A 15 is the magic number. So finally,
Yes!
somebody manages to smash this lantern onto the troll. The oil spills out, the open flame catching, and within a few moments, there's this horrible screeching noise as the troll is burned, kind of in this like half alive state, and with that, as it like lashes out, it finally kind of like twitches and like falls closed. And Durnan sort of just like lets out a deep sigh, kind of like wiping sweat from his brow, and he says, I'm getting too old for this shit."
Well,
And then he turns to you, Reginald, and Yagra. He turns to the two of them, and he says, "Help me push this sodding thing back over the well where it came from. I don't want its corpse stinking up my tavern."
Right away. He does not look like the man who I will say no to.
Considering it just like slaughtered everything, it's like, sure, let's go.
All right, so the three of them will work on pushing this hefty troll's corpse basically up to the edge of the well and just whoop, tipping it over back down. So
I turn to Sheldrick and I'm like, "Excellent work, Sheldrick. Your contributions to this party is very appreciated."
Very not, my lady. You have seen nothing yet.
That sounded like a threat.
Or you didn't say the line.
I don't remember what the line is.
It's we're the best of chums and nothing will ever change.
Oh
that.
yes. No, it's like, very not, my lady. I'm sure we will always be the best of chums, and nothing will ever change that. Anyway, I will walk over to this table and get the glass of wine.
all right, yes, and as you all finish this, as the corpse is toppled over the edge, you hear like this sort of like rapid sort of like clapping, like coming from over by the bar, and you see this rather foppishly dressed, somewhat rotund, short man who is sitting there at the bar with an open sort of like book, scrawling something this whole time, and he kind of like stands up and he says, "A marvelous, what a marvelous show! If I were not so otherwise occupied, I would write a great story about it." And Durnan just sort of like scowls and he's like, "Huh." He says, "Nothing that impressive," as he's like going to head back behind the bar to like store his greatsword. You see this man kind of like walking up to the lot of you.
Hello.
And he says, "You folks seem like you're some experienced fighters." He says, "You conducted yourself well." He says, "Allow me to introduce myself. I am Volatam Pagadarm." And he says, "Renowned scholar and Arthur. I am sure you have heard of me."
Never heard of you.
Would I have heard of him?
Definitely, like anybody who's like not got their head buried under a rock would have heard of him. And he had just released his latest book, Volo's Guide to Monsters.
Oh yes, I forgot that one.
Oh yes, of course.
My sister is a big fan.
The famous Volo. What an honor to meet you, to make your acquaintance.
Bull's like, "Do I know?" Nothing.
And he just sort of says, he says, "I am sure it is quite the honor." He says, "Perhaps we should take a seat, and I will get a round of drinks for you all. I could use some of your help, perhaps. Let us find a table and chat." And he kind of
Well, I
begins.
think we still have to wait for the guards to show up about everything that happened over
Just
there.
he just sort of laughs and he says, "Have you not read the Enchiridion? It will be a half an hour before they arrive."
What? I look over at like Durnan behind the bar.
Yeah, I look around. It's like that is very tardy for the guards. Perhaps
And
I
he
need
says,
to submit a formal complaint.
He says, "Perhaps if this were the castle ward or the north ward, they would be here much quicker. But here in the depths of the dock wards, you do not see them all too often, especially with the increased violence."
Right.
I suppose
then.
we should have a seat while we wait then.
Yes, I suppose there's nothing for it.
Resume to my seat. And I look around for... I don't remember what you said her name was, yeah. The barmaid.
So Volo will actually take you over to this sort of like enclosed table over here, this like larger...
I just sat down.
larger sort of like more private table.
What's this orc chick's name?
She never actually gave it to you, but if you ask, she says her name is Yagra. And she says, well, I guess I'll just be waiting here then.
Great.
I'm not.
Yeah,
And I just sort of.
We don't know what's going on either.
It's just you have it's just trying to think like, well, you do not wish to join us? I guess it was like the room that, or like Volo's a human. No,
Is Volo
Well-
a human or dwarf?
Bolo looks human, I think, from the picture.
He's human.
okay, I can never remember if he's a human or if he's a halfling.
But I thought
Typical bar.
get her
Yeah, this is so well. I will just go to join there.
Yeah, she
Right.
doesn't want to join us.
She just says, I've got enough troubles of my own, and I know to stay clear of that one.
Oh, good. That's not foreboding.
Sheldon will have like a moment of like looking at her and like think, and it's just like, have I heard anything? Can I roll anything if I've heard anything about Volo?
You can make
People
a
ask,
you can make a history check.
When Volo says you could help me with something, do those people end up coming back alive? Is what I want to know. Oh no.
So like he's got quite a prodigious history of sort of writing novels and gathering experiences in the field. Although based on his appearances, it doesn't really seem like he's quite capable of that sort of thing. You're not entirely sure the nature of this contract, but he doesn't seem to be. Obviously, like he doesn't seem to be hiring you to just be bodies essentially to get something done. Far beyond your ability, right? He seems to be a good judge of what people are capable of, having seen many adventures of his own. So as you all gather in this room, he just sort of like sits you all down and kind of like some drinks are brought in after a few moments, and he says, as he's sort of like stroking his mustache and adjusting his floppy hat, he just sort of says, once again, I am Volo, chronicler, wizard, and celebrity at your service. I trust you've noted the violence in our fair city these past 10 days. I haven't seen so much blood since my last visit to Baldur's Gate, but now I fear I have misplaced a friend amid this odious malevolence, and I could use your assistance in finding him. You will, of course, be paid well for the troubles. And he kind of like looks around. He says, interested?
Well,
Where did you lose
young
this
lady.
friend?
Sorry, everybody kind of talked over each other.
I just I think most of us have looked at Valerie.
I'm quiet. I'm just sitting there drinking and eating.
Fair enough. Like Valerie would probably say it's well, I mean this could be something that maybe we could help you with. Would this be something though you'd be better off asking the guards to assist with?
And he just sort of like again kind of like pulls at his scarf, kind of like adjusting it, and he says, perhaps, but these investigations, when you go to the guards, they take quite a long time. When you go to adventurers, they tend to get done quite quickly. You are more capable of expedited measures than the guards are.
I believe there seems to have been some misunderstanding. I guess it towards like Valerie. This is Lady Valerie Candencia von Bourbon of the Bourbon family. We are her entourage.
I was actually here to meet my sister.
Yeah, and as this conversation is going on, Valerie, suddenly you hear a voice in your head, a familiar voice, and it says, hey, Valerie, it's me, Alexei. Sorry, but I've got a bit distracted on the way. I am currently not anywhere near Waterdeep. So, sorry. but I'm not gonna make it. Bye.
I think that was way more than 30. I want to
35.
count.
It's like
You counted?
5.
You counted?
It's fine. It's fine.
As Valerie says, I was waiting for my sister bat happens. Like her eyes close and she gets a frown, and then she starts this angry, heavy breathing. And she's trying to like collect herself.
Sheldrick is familiar with this, with this reaction. Gets a little smirk.
Actually, never
Quickly
mind
expressed.
that. Appears she won't be making it. But yes, we're not adventurers or anything like that. I'm a noble. So I would love to help you look for your friend and all, but I'm not sure how that would reflect well on the family.
And he sort of says, and he kind of like chuckles, and he says, there are many a family of nobles in Waterdeep who have adventurous sons and daughters. It is a great way to earn honor for your family. Trust me, if you save my friend, the deed will spread far and wide. You will be known for your compassion and generosity. It will only seek to bolster your family's name, rather than retract from it.
He's stroking the eagle. That's a good move. He's sort of like nodding along.
As you mentioned a compensation as well.
And he sort of nods and says, of course, I am willing to pay for this assistance. I am, of course, an author of no small renown. I have much money to my name.
I look at Valerie and says, like, making a friend of of a famous authors such as Volo can be quite advantageous for the family, and if there is trade involved.
Yes. I nod. Very well. That sounds like it could be adequate compensation. Well, tell us more about your friend and the disappearance, then, and we'll see if it's something that we're able to help with.
He sort of nods and says, oh, thank you so much. And he says, my friend's name is Floon Blagmar. He's got more beauty than brains, but he's a great drinking companion, very charismatic. And he says, last night he accompanied me to the Skewered Dragon, a dark bawdy tavern in the Dockward. I called it an early night, but Floon remained, drinking and merrymaking. His wife, he tracked me down here in the yachting portal half an hour ago and told me that Floon never came home last night. This was doubly surprising, as I had not previously been aware that he was even married. And he says, Floon is a handsome man, in his early 30s, wavy red blonde hair, not difficult to pick out of a crowd, however, for he insists on wearing this gaudy 6-inch bas-relief of a unicorn's head on a chain of blue pearls around his neck. And he says, other than that, I am not sure. He has not been seen since last night.
Wow, he gave us a lot to work with there. Okay, we need to roll back. All right, so Blue Blagmar, what tavern? Skewered Dragon.
Skewered Dragon. Do I know the tavern?
I don't know. Are you the type that sort of would be in the Dockward?
I mean, probably.
That's
probably where I spent most of my time before I became a bodyguard for the Von Bourbons.
What's your background?
Smuggler.
Your Dragon Tavern, handsome blonde.
You were more of like a land-based smuggler.
Unicorn necklace.
No, I don't think you would have heard of the Skewered Dragon in
blue
particular.
unicorn necklace.
Okay.
So it's like it's a 6-inch bas relief of a unicorn's head that's on a chain of blue pearls.
6-inch
relief of a dragon. Oh, sorry, unicorn. Pearls.
Same thing.
On chain around neck. Handsome blonde. Has a wife that we didn't know of. Okay, right.
Did you say blonde?
Okay. Yeah, he said he was a handsome blonde.
It's like cherry blonde, like reddish blonde.
Yeah. Is your friend an elf, a human?
What was the name of the guy?
Floon Blagmar.
Bloon Blagmar.
Floon.
Floon. Oh yeah, Floon. Yes, Floon Blagmar. So I'm just picturing Quagmire from Family Guy.
He says he is a human.
Okay. And his wife.
What class
know
is
of
he?
her? What class is he? Fighter, cleric. Anyway, so yeah, this wife that you've not heard of. What's her name? Where's she?
Her name is Estasia. I do not know much about her, actually. In fact, I do not even know where she lives. She came and found me. I am not quite sure how she did so. I suppose that a famous man like myself cannot escape such things quite easily. He says, he kind of like shrugs and says, she's a bit of an unknown. Like I said, I did not know about her until some 30 minutes ago.
Did she ask or say anything else, or was she just looking to see if you saw where her husband was last night?
Well, she heard that I was with him and seems to have misunderstood our relationship. She seems to think that I am somehow responsible for his disappearance, but like I said, I left him after an early night. He says what he does after that, well, I cannot be held responsible.
Why would she think you're responsible?
Sort of shrugs and says, I do not know. Perhaps she is trying to hold something over me, blackmail me, or get something out of me. He says, there are many people who are like that.
Can I insight that?
Yeah, I kind of want to insight that too.
Yeah, sure. Go and make a insight check.
I'll insight it as well.
Yeah. So looking at him, you generally like get the opinion that Volo just has no idea why she wants to hold him responsible. He's just like making
even if he
supposition.
Even if he was responsible, he wouldn't think he's responsible. Is what I'm getting from this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's fair enough. All right. I guess she'd go on. So last night at the Skewered Dragon Tavern, when did you get there and how long were you there for?
And he sort of like begins to like stroke his beard, and he just sort of says, well, about that, the details are a little fuzzy. He says, we arrived, it was pretty late at night already, probably an hour or so past sundown. We were merrymaking and drinking amongst the sailors that frequent the place. And he says, I was going to him for perhaps advice, looking for leads for my new book that I am writing, Volo's Guide to Spirits and Spectres, seeking his knowledge on haunted places around the city. And he says, I do not remember much of the conversation, I am afraid. Perhaps I was a bit too far into my cups by the end of the night. It is a good thing that I called it in early.
Right, I see. Right, okay. Alright, so you're not sure exactly when you left.
He sort of like shakes his head and says, I know it was before midnight, at least.
Volo's Guide to Spirits and what was that? Monsters?
Spectres.
No. Spectres.
Spectre gadget.
Right, I see. Well, I suppose, do you know where Floon lives? Or works, or anything like that?
He just sort of kind of shakes his head, and he says, he's a bit of a, how do I say it, a bit of a wandering sort of folk. Spends his nights in various taverns around the place with the company of other people. He says, again, it was quite a surprise when I found out that he was apparently married.
Thor
Right.
called it a fuckboy.
Well, I can't think of anything else for now, and I look around unless anyone else has any questions.
Well, there is one important one we have to discuss before we set out on this venture, and that is, of course, the question of the actual compensation, what we will be getting out of this.
Ah, yes, that.
Yeah, and you see he's kind of like strokes his mustache. He's like, of course. And he says, I am willing to... Volo, Floon is quite a great friend of mine. I am willing to give you each a sum of 100 gold. And he says, 500 gold total for information and his retrieval. And he says, I will even front you. I can pay you 10 gold each now, and 90 gold when the job is done.
I'm willing to take that gold. I'll sort of nod and say, along with the knowledge that you'll pass on the fact that a member of the Bourbon family has assisted you, I take it.
And he says, of course, spreading rumors and exaggerating stories is my specialty after all.
Should we get that in writing? I Valerie.
Can you draft the contract?
I have paper and ink pen on me, yes.
You see, he kind of, Volo has this sort of like nervous chuckle and he says, a funny jest, but I assure you that time is of the essence here. He is gone missing in quite a bad part of town, and I am afraid that should we take too long, he will face an untimely demise. I fear for my friend's life.
Worry not, it will take but a minute, I say.
I have to go get a drink of water. Should we take that 5-minute break,
Can I
Mike?
insight him on that? Why he seems to so skittish about it?
Sure, yeah, make an insight check.
Or I'll do it as well. Let's go. Fuck.
Everybody apparently is just going to roll it. So Dricken and Sheldrake, you notice as he's kind of like pulling on his collar. You could tell that like he's being like honest and forthright, but he might be stretching the truth about how much he can pay currently. Looking at him, and like just you could tell like based on like the drinks that have been brought to the table, they're kind of like cheaper than you would expect, and like the food is kind of like a little bit cheaper than you would have maybe expected a famous celebrity to be bringing forth. So he might be in a little bit of financial trouble, so to say.
Sheldrick, I think it would be wise if we had a larger sum paid now.
It
Maybe
is.
half.
It's just like. I sort of I nod to Dricken. I look at Vola and says, "My honored master Getherum," says, so surely, he says. Surely, honesty. Surely you must agree that in any working relationship, honesty is the most important part.
Yes, of course.
Says, and as such, it would not be good to exaggerate one kind of achieve or afford. Says, I can understand the temptation with our friends when someone's one is close to perhaps is in trouble as the like. Says, but if one does not can afford the things one says one affords, well, that can lead to a great deal of trouble later down the line.
And just sort of like chuckles. He's like, friend, I am not quite certain what it is that you are implying here. He says, I am well within my means, and I know what I am capable of and what I am not capable of.
I says, then you will have no trouble having me draft up signing a contract stating as much.
He just sort of like says, I do not know. My publisher kind of screwed me on the last contract, and he says, the royalties from the book, they are quite slow to come in. He says, I am not really sure such a thing is necessary for this sort of a business deal.
He says, the Bourbons pride themselves on on logging all of our transactions, I'd say. And I've already probably like gotten the pen out and like the ink and the paper.
You've been writing this whole time.
Yeah, I've been writing as we're going. Have to keep this.
And he just sort of
time is of the essence.
He just sort of says, could we not just settle perhaps for like a promissory note or something of the likes? We do not need to have to get so formal with it. I mean, if you are drafting a contract, we'll have to get the magister involved and go to the city courts and have it ratified. It's just a lot of work. And my poor friend of Floon, he is out there somewhere in the dark depths of the dock wards, being tortured or maimed or worse.
Yes. Your
Please, my
time.
friends, time is of the essence.
Yes, time is of course of the essence. Perhaps, as we can speed things, we should speed things along. But perhaps a bigger retainer could help alleviate any worries that we might have.
And he just sort of says, I'm afraid I do not understand.
Well, payment in front is what's called a retainer, I think.
And he just sort of says, well, unfortunately, I am a little bit beyond my means to provide any more than I have promised up front.
By the gods.
Says, I am good for the sum total, but I do not have much liquid, you understand. It is tied up in assets within the city, property and businesses and the likes. It will take time to procure some of this ready cash. Unfortunately, seeing as I have not been paid by my publisher yet.
I see. And I look towards Valerie. Your thoughts, Lady Bourbon?
Give me a second. And I sort of like pull out a little handbook. And I think like you'd probably all recognize it as like my diary. Appointments. Yeah. Okay, I don't really have anything going on for the next little while, and I'll close it, and I'll say, we will look for your friend on the promise that she will be paying us the full sum as agreed at the end of this ordeal. However, let me make myself very clear. When the time comes that you will have to pay us, you better liquidate those assets to be able to get the funds, or a magistrate will be the least of your concerns.
I shall rewrite rewrite the contract into a promissory note instead.
And he just sort of like chuckles nervously, and he says, of course, I will make sure that you are duly compensated. He says, for the sum of gold, or at least the value of it in commodity, or otherwise, should I not be able to liquidate it in time.
Very good.
Since I'm like a tiger, I'm like with a toothpick and I just see in my teeth, and I'm like.
Yeah, he's just like he's got the like the nervous kind of like sweats going on. I
was scratching with my claws on the table.
And I was to say, it's like an interesting thing about the Bourbon family. You would know, Master Gedrap, is that they originally come from the city of Baldur's Gate.
Eldrake.
And he just sort of he chuckles and he says, is that so? That would perhaps explain a great many things. Perhaps I should make a note of it when next I make an update to the Enchiridion.
It's like, I smile at him. Perhaps you should.
And yeah, you see he begins to like sort of like get up and like slowly kind of like edge his way towards the door. He says, if there is nothing else, friends, I really must be going.
Like grab him. It's like first.
Did it sign the promising thing then?
Please, first, and I will get you the water paper. I've rewritten it from a contract to a promissory note. Your sign and stamp of, well, sign at the very least.
He says, oh, that is quite impressive. Right, where is the quill?
I give him the quill.
And you see he just sort of like slowly, sort of like shakily kind of like signs this like big elaborate like volo on the note. And he says, right, well, and he's like pulls this kind of like pouch out from kind of like beneath like an inner pocket of his sort of like foppish dress, and kind of like puts it on the table and says, I really must be going. Please, if you find my friend, come and contact me. He says, I will return here, and he says, I will return here within the hour.
The hour, okay.
What about the gold up front?
He put the pouch.
That's for the pouch.
Oh, okay, that was pouch.
That's very well. I'll, wait for the ink to dry. Like, I don't have a spell to hurry that up, do I? No, I don't.
Do you not have
Tend to,
sand?
sprinkle. Yeah, people tend to sprinkle a little bit of powder on to like
Yeah, it's
deal
sand.
with that.
breadcrumbs. I'm like,
No, I don't have any.
I have salt.
Yeah,
Sucks out. I just take out some salt and I like salt it.
Someone shave down some of the table, get some wood chips, like some wood grain.
Well, I'll just like leave. Take the impens. Like, thank you, Master Gedarm, and I will let you know let him go, and
Yep.
take the pouch and like start cointing.
Cointing the coins.
Pointing the coins.
I go like
counting.
kinda like low as he's leaving. Like, did we almost threaten one famous person there?
Oh,
Bit ridiculous. We didn't threaten him. I just
No.
made the implication that you can face litigation if he doesn't pay us.
All right. Blackmail.
It's just like, yes, of course.
Very good, young mistress.
Yes, we have done nothing that goes against the letter of the law.
I'm just chuckling to myself.
Anyway, is the money all there?
Yeah, as you count it out, there are 50 gold coins within the pouch, enough for 10 gold for each of you.
It's like 49 basic. Track him down.
49 gold and 9 silvers and 9 coppers.
Like hunting time.
He's one copper short. Get him.
Just hear like snarling from the cat. I'm like,
Yeah, so as you all exit from this meeting, Volo kind of like wanders off out the back door here. As you all exit from the meeting, you see a number of it's been like 10 15 minutes or whatever at this point in total since that like fight happened and all that kind of stuff. You see that there are a number of guards entering into the tavern. They have like rounded up the unconscious bandits and currently sort of like have them in cuffs, and they appear to be talking with Yagra, who is just sort of like conversing with them, and they seem to be like asking questions to her and Durnan and some of the other commoners kind of like around. And as you sort of like exit from the back, one of the guardsmen kind of comes up to you, and he says, "Hold there, please. We've some questions for you." And he says,
Of course.
He says, "How long have you been here?"
I tell him how long we've been here.
And he says, "Right, and your business?"
I was here to meet my sister, though that appointment seems to have been cancelled. We were sitting and having a drink when we noticed the fight was ongoing. That's when we intervened.
And he says, So you partook in the brawl that happened here in the tavern, then?
The sole purpose of preventing any more bloodshed. They were all ganging up on her on their own.
Just these ruffians who perhaps belong to the Santos Code, though the claim has yet to be proven. We're attacking the other patron. I believe her name is Yagra. Says I guess towards her. When there seemed like the fighting was perhaps going to escalating, there was some shout of about avenging some previous altercations, weapons being drawn. Lady Bourbon here tried to intervene in order to calm the situation. At which point they pointed their weapons towards us, and we intervened. And as you can see, managed to knock them out without doing any lasting harm to the individuals. Yes. And also called upon the city guard, of course.
Sort of like nods, and he's kind of like writing all this down, and he says, I see. Well, he says, I don't think we've any further questions for you. He says, what is your place of residence, do you mind asking? Should we need to call upon you for any witness account or testimony?
The Bourbon Manor.
And sort of like nods and says, very well. He says, be off then. See yourself avoiding any trouble in the future. He says, should you witness any crimes going on, please make sure to report them promptly to the watch and to the captain of this particular ward, Justus Staggett. And he says, that'll be all.
Justus
Of
Staggett.
course. suppose we'll be on our way.
This Daggett, captain
You have,
of the dock ward.
Yeah, and as you're kind of like making your way out, Sheldrake, you notice as you're kind of like walking past back to the main entrance, Jaeger is kind of like giving you this like look out of the corner of her eye, like please get me out of here. As these guards are just like asking her question after question after question, and they seem to be sort of like being a lot more thorough with asking her questions, given her like appearance.
I says, yeah, of course, racist. Sheldrake like shakes his head as he like says, like turns to Valerie, says like, I will be with you shortly, I say, and I will then turn and walk over towards Jager and the guards. Says, is there any problems here? Good officers, I suppose.
Yeah, so he sort of like turns and says, "No, civilian. We are just going through the routine procedure, asking some questions here. Witness statements saw that this woman pushed a man down into the well. He is presumed dead at this point in time. We are not willing to send a force down there to retrieve the body as of yet, but this is a grave matter. Even if she was attacked, to have slain her attacker with no evidence of lethal threat against her is... Well,
no evidence of lethal threat. I believe there must be some mistake there. The attackers had drawn their weapons, and were attempting to stab and slash both her and our entourage when we attempted to calm them down.
And he just sort of says, is that so? And this is, curious. And he says, well, I suppose, if you say you were involved in all this then, I suppose, can you...
Yes, we just finished explaining to the other officer. I like look around to see if I can see that guy.
And Jaeger sort of like speaks up and says, yes, they came to my defense. I was 5 versus 1, you see. It was a bit of a hopeless endeavor. He says, I would have been the one down in that well had they not come to my defense. He says,
It seems to me to have been a well-planned, altercation, or what you would call it. Says these thugs waited until Durnan, who I'm sure you are well aware provides most of the security to this establishment, was out of sight and probably somewhere in the back with a kitchen and such before they started the troubles. They screamed something about bloody murder before drawing their weapons, and as this woman has explained, there were 5 of them and only the one of her. Had it not been for the goodness of and lawful conduct of my lady Valerie Candencia von Bourbon, who acted to intervene immediately, then you would have this woman as a corpse on the ground, and these 5 thugs long since vanished.
Yeah. So can you make for me a persuasion check with advantage?
All right.
Well, technically, it was me saying that. You know.
Yeah, so as he sort of like looks for a moment, flipping through the pages of his notebook, and he says, well, the story does seem to add up here. I suppose that will be all then. You are free to go, Miss Stonefist. And he says, but see that you do not cause any further trouble in these parts. And he says, you do not want to get involved with these gang politics. It will only end in blood on the streets. And the guard sort of like puts the notepad away, and they all kind of like gather up and like begin to like leave the scene, escorting the cuffed, unconscious bandits out. And after they leave, Jaeger just sort of like lets out this deep sigh of relief and says, "Thank you. That is stifling. I hate talking to the guard. They always ask way too many goddamn questions."
they are attempting to keep the order and peace of the city, and with the current situation, says well, I have to look around and like in a lower voice, just like I'm assuming what happened here wasn't a coincidence.
And he sort of like looks at you and says, I perhaps might have been involved in something. And he says, but they got what was coming to them.
I am sure they did.
Is that something going to come back and bite us in the ass?
I mean,
Uh,
you're not there as far as I'm aware.
I broke up from the main
Yeah,
group.
Sheldrake was like, Sheldrake kind of like broke off and was like, I'll catch up.
Oh. We're all standing next to each other, though. Okay.
Well, I mean, there's no need for the battle map anymore. The tokens are irrepresentative.
There you go. I moved,
like you're
I moved
all
my
gone.
token.
So
Yeah.
Boop.
Because we were heading out one. So I'll say, well, it's not any. It's I'm sure they. Wait, what was the last thing she said? That they got what was coming to them.
Mhm.
She had. I was just
Yeah.
like, oh, I am sure they did. Says the the guild member, the senator guild, the senator guild, yes, or it's just called the senators.
this is Xanathar Guild or Xanathars.
Yeah.
Doesn't
This
really-
is
either or.
the senators guild aren't exactly any upstanding citizens, and they, and their order isn't needed for the trade of this city.
Yeah, she sort of like nods to that and says, right. He says, scum of the earth they all are. He says, good riddance to them. Nobody's gonna miss any single one of them. He says, you know what? You're all right. What's your name? I don't think we've actually introduced each other. He says,
Yes, I am Sheldrake, says, of the Bourbon estate, major domo of the Bourbons.
and she sort of like nods and sort of like puts out a hand. It says, and you can see like the tattoo again, sort of like on her right arm. And she says, Yagra Stonefist. It says, if you ever need any assistance, don't hesitate to come ask. Perhaps some friends of mine might be able to look into things for you.
I
You've
am
done-
sure.
You've done me a favor, so I owe you.
Will be sure to keep that in mind, Yagra. I give a short smile.
And again, she sort of like stretches out her arms and says, no, I really must be going. It says, my companions will be expecting me.
Yes, I'm sure. I am sure this, and will be good to leave this entire thing behind you, and your friends are surely to expect you soon.
Yes,
And
she
I
sort
was
of
going as well.
nods and excuses herself.
Yep.
And then you
Sheldrick.
hurry up and catch up with the others.
Yes.
Yep. Ah, Sheldrake, you're back.
Yes.
What were you doing
Apologize
in there?
for the delay, my lady. Keeping a promise.
A promise?
I says, well, I did earlier promise to speak on the behalf of the woman that we helped, Yagra Stonefist.
Ah, yes. Good work.
And
Oh,
it
right.
says, thank you, lady.
So, Floon Blagmar, eh? So,
Where
the
should we
skewer-
start, mistress?
Well, the obvious choice would be the Skewered Dragon Tavern, I would say. That is where he last was. Maybe someone there can tell us what exactly happened last night. Does anyone know where it is?
Does anyone know where it is? Yes. Do anyone?
So
Oh yes, I do not.
none of you know exactly where it is, but you do know it is within the dock ward. And so it probably won't be too hard to find should you head there.
The dock ward, then it is.
We
And I
are in
suppose
the
we get.
dock.
Oh, we are in the dock.
Well, you're kind of
Okay,
like
perfect.
you're kind of like at the edge of it, right? So the yawning portal is basically like right at the edge of the dock ward. It's kind of like begins here, so it's basically like at the edge of it.
Back Purse Lane. Oh god. Cut Alley. Oh shit. Why are we here?
Yeah, because you did catch that this is the whole place that the gang war is currently taking place in the dock wards. You know, this is the bad part of town.
Thought they were exaggerating.
We are here because your sister invited us to come to the yawning portal, but in the usual fashion, it seemed that your sister has, deemed it unnecessary to show up for an appointment.
We are literally here because someone was kidnapped or disappeared. I mean, what do you think has happened, James?
Like say off fighting giants and crap. Alright, well I suppose we can try I suppose we should try and ask for direction, should we?
All right.
Yeah.
So I guess as we go around we'll ask, hey, do you know where this tavern is?
So
do we have a
Be right
Do we
back,
have
2
a
seconds.
couch,
I'm
or
just gonna go grab some food. Takes
do
2
we-
minutes. Thanks.
do we hire one?
no, you probably just took the transportation.
I thought we
Transportation
had
here.
I thought the whole thing was Mike was the driver. Like we have our own like carriage.
He's a
Like I
stable
said, when it's available and your father and mother aren't using it.
Oh
Yeah.
right, okay, fair enough. Okay, well I suppose that we could get like something from the what are they called again? What guild is it? The transport people?
Porter?
Transport. people.
Porter, that's it. I suppose we should try and get a porter then. So we can hail a cabbie and make our way there.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
you certainly can do that. You would know probably, however, though, like if looking to get directions, you're probably best off just going by foot, so you can like ask people along the way.
Yes, I suppose the porters would know the name of every single establishment in the city. They don't actually
Yeah, I guess.
have.
Yeah, it's a pretty big city,
Yeah.
as you can tell by the size of this map.
Yeah.
Alright, well I suppose we can ask some directions and see if it's close, and if not, then get a porter.
I
So guess
suppose.
that's what...
No, we've already left. It would be unseemly to walk back in and be like, Jordan, as a fellow tavern owner, do you know? It would be unseemly.
You'd probably be offended.
Yes, exactly.
Alright,
Alright.
so I guess we'll ask for some directions.
Sure. Like you begin making your way towards the dock ward, where you can hope that some of the locals will know the way. So you're walking through the streets for some time, making your way into the dock ward, kind of asking here and there for directions. Somebody tells you, oh yeah, just take a left down Black Star Lane, and dip down the alley, and et cetera, et cetera. As people kind of like, they have their paths that they travel during their day, and it's not oftentimes like the most efficient path. It's just the path that they travel. So the directions you get are kind of winding in nature almost, due to that, as everybody has a different kind of like way of getting about. So you're traveling through the streets for some time, and you get like pretty like a few minutes into the dockward proper, and you can see that like as you're traveling through, the dockward itself has these sort of like tall, densely packed tenement-style buildings that actually leave most of the neighborhood looming in shadow at the ground level. A lot of the street lamps, as you're walking through here, have had the glass smashed open and the candles within stolen from within, and the smells of like salt air and excrement linger in the air as you pass by rows of these like run down buildings. And after a while, you turn a corner and you find yourselves on a street that appears to have been cordoned off by the city watch. And you see lying on the cobblestones ahead are a half dozen corpses, seemingly the victim of some terrible skirmish. Watch officers have disarmed and arrested 3 blood-drenched humans, are in the midst of questioning witnesses. One of the officers you see is directing bystanders away from the scene. Get on, she says, nothing to see here. And as you're sort of like walking up to the scene, you all have a passive perception higher than 12. You notice that the 3 men that are detained each have tattoos. One has one on the back of his hand, and the other 2 are sort of prominently displayed on the upper arm. The tattoos are all the same sort of image of this black-colored flying snake. Do any of you have a passive perception score of 15 or higher?
No.
Perception. No, I have.
Pretty sure that was the same tattoo Yagra had, though.
Perception. I have 3, so guess not.
Back?
Nope.
All right. So yes, that is what you see. You see the 3 men with their tattoos being detained by the guards, who are kind of like currently like shuffling people. There are a lot of bystanders kind of like gathered around. The path that you were told kind of like led right through the street, but it's all been like blocked off and cordoned off after this like large like bloody skirmish has kind of like spilled out onto the streets.
If you need to try and get a tour.
So you kind of like ask around a little bit for like a way around, sort of steering clear of this crime scene, and eventually you make your way sort of like winding through the streets, down into sort of like this seedy like back alleyway, and you arrive at a building, and you see that it looks almost like a ruin. Both of the front-facing windows are smashed, and you see a ship's anchor is like lodged in the roof as if it was like slammed there. And through the broken windows, you can see a group of haggard patrons drinking from huge tankards. And it's like pretty early in the evening at this point. It's not like night, but it's like after work time, so it's not unusual that there are people like here, but it's not like super crowded as of yet. And you see there is a sign sort of like half broken hanging off of the front that has it doesn't have words, but it's like a picture of this like stylized dragon with a spear kind of like jabbed through its gut.
Ooh. Well, I think this is the place. I sort of look at it, it's like, wow.
It would appear so.
Alright. Let's go and see if anyone saw anything. Everyone keep your ribs shiv free.
Of course. I'm sure. So Reginald will keep a close eye on your ribs, lady.
Yeah. So
Of course, mistress.
as you enter into this sort of like grimy establishment, you see a lot of people are sort of like heads down in the drink. There's like a couple people like sitting together at a table. One guy like off in the corner on his own. They're all like they look like either sort of like sailors or just sort of like kind of like generally like seedy looking people that all like immediately kind of like look in your direction as you enter in here, definitely like looking completely out of place amidst this kind of like grime.
All prim and proper. Alright, so I suppose I'll make my way up to the the owner of the place, the barkeep.
And so you see there's a woman behind the bar, sort of like cleaning the top of the bar, but the rag itself is like so dirty that it doesn't really seem to be like doing much of anything. Just like pushing the dirt around more than actually like picking it up. And she sort of like looks up at you and says, "You don't look like you're from around here. You get lost, little lady? Or is there something I can help you with?"
Something you could help me with, if possible. We're looking for a man by the name of Floon Blagmar. He was here last night with Volo. Do you know what happened to him or where he went?
She just sort of says, shrugs and says, "Can't say that I do. Can't say that I do." Says, "Are you sure you're in the right place?"
Well, we should be. His wife apparently is saying that he didn't come home last night. Ostesia, has she been in here asking where he is?
Holy shit, you're giving everything away.
Mono?
Sort of,
I thought Valerie was supposed to be the clever one.
says maybe
He's
she
not an
was,
investigator.
maybe she wasn't. What's it worth to you?
I would lean over towards Valerie and says like, they would be expecting payment for information, my lady.
Ah, right. How much is a brick? I suppose. Let's see. I've got 18. Maybe I can make it 15. I suppose I'll like take out 3 gold coins and say, "This enough?"
She sort of like looks down at it as you sort of like slide it onto the bar, and she says, "I don't know the names, but the descriptions they seem familiar." Says there was a couple boys like that in here. They were drinking for an hour or so before the fat one left, after which the other one was joined by another man, one of those spoiled rich noble types that likes to rub our noses in things. Says most of the folks around here wouldn't recognize him, but I do. But you understand that client confidentiality is of utmost importance. I'm afraid I can't quite divulge such information, at least not without significant lubrication.
Right. Significant lubrication. Don't know if there's anything else here. Help me, Sheldrake.
Right. I will.
And she slowly like slides the 3 gold into sort of like her
Yeah.
pocket on the other side of the bar.
I will get my like the coin, put my own coin purse out, and I will like put 1 gold coin, put another gold, like look at her, put another gold coin, like, and
So you just do it like one at a time.
yeah, one at a time.
All right. So after you place down another 3 gold coins, she sort of like smiles and says, "I knew you were the business type. Looking at you," she says, "Indeed, most of the people around here don't know him, but I recognize the man immediately." Says, "None other than Rainier Neverember, son of the previous Open Lord Daggelt Neverember, and before he was kicked out."
Revere Never Ember.
Never Ember, yes.
Never Ember. That's a...
Son of Daggelt Neverember, who's currently the Lord of Neverwinter.
Ah, right, okay.
He says, he arrived a bit after the fat one, Volo, left. And he says, he and Floon were here for some time. They left just past midnight, I believe. He says, there was some men. It was strange. I don't like to stick my neck into such things, but there were a few men that followed them out. One of them had a tattoo on the back of their neck, rather prominent, this black winged snake.
Oh no.
I see.
Said, they left to the north, heading towards Fillet Lane. She sort of gestures out the door. Didn't see them any further than that, though.
Right, I see. Did Floon and Rainier say if they were going anywhere specifically that you caught wind of?
She sort of shakes her head and says, "No, but I can't imagine that they got wherever they were going. Those men were looking at each other with rather shifty-looking grins. They were probably mugged and lying dead in a sewer somewhere."
Sigh, okay, right. She nods and says, "Right. Well, I guess we'll just have to see if we can follow whichever way they went." And I sort of look around and it's like, anyone got any other questions?
No, I believe. I believe this lady has told us the truth. Says.
Alright, well, let's see what Fillet Lane has to offer. Thank you again.
She sort of smiles and, "Don't mention it, but see that you don't get lost around these parts. This nice-looking girl like you is, well, likely to be shivved or worse. Avoid the back alleys, if I were you."
Well, thank you for the friendly advice. All right, to Fillet Lane we go.
So as we get out, and like out of the tavern and like start like moving a little bit, as I will say, I believe the lady was right about about the fact that Floon and his companion would not have made it to wherever they're going. Though I think she's wrong about the fact that they will be lying dead in a ditch. At least Floon might be lying dead in a ditch, but these men, I doubt that they would have. Well, if they have any sort of semblance of intelligence, they would not have murdered Rene and Neverember. He is far more valuable as a captive, after all.
I have to wonder what he was doing here.
Yes, it is. Perhaps, as she says, he is not well of the same. Is not of the same fruit as his father, and instead just likes the adventurous sort of lifestyle, rubbing shoulders with those of the more seedy parts of the world. Perhaps he's so used to his father influence keeping him safe that it never occurred to him that he's in danger. Though he would have to be incredibly stupid for that.
Well, I mean, hopefully they had a semblance of sense and didn't kill the man. Although they might not have known who he was. And that just makes things more complicated.
Indeed.
Those tattoos that she described, black-winged snakes, weren't those the same ones that Yagra had?
Yes.
Oh, I really don't want to get involved in a gang war.
Well, provided that they haven't killed Rene and Floon, there is we could perhaps there should be a way to deal with this without coming to blows. There can always be negotiations, or one could turn to the City Watch, or perhaps if they have taken Rene captive, the fortune that one would get for freeing the son of the former Open Lord of Waterdeep and the current Lord of Neverwinter would be, I would say, a good boon in comparison to the risk of battling a few thugs.
Yes. Oh, yes. That would very much. Like, she starts walking a bit fast now, I think.
Can both of you make a history check for me?
History check.
Sheldrake, as you're sort of like discussing this and sort of like the proposition as it were, you remember as part of your staying apprised of the city's affairs many years ago, when Daggelt Neverember was still the Open Lord of Waterdeep. He and his son had something of a falling out, and they have very much like distanced themselves from each other. And in fact, his son has even sort of like sworn off of the family name, almost been kind of like basically disinherited, as it were. At the last you knew, they were not on good terms.
I say we leave him to die.
Well,
We have a job to do.
Sheldrake will not inform anyone about this unless they've. He assumes that those who have cared to keep themselves updated are updated. We can always figure out these kind of things later. It's always good to have noble people in our depth anyway. And
Exactly.
looking at Valerie's like current motivation, he wouldn't want to burst her bubble.
All right. So yeah, you guys begin heading out of this like dark alleyway up towards the sort of more main road of Fillet Lane. And as you turn off onto the lane, you see it's rather short. It only stretches between like the main road of Waterdeep, the sort of Way of the Dragon, and like another sort of like larger side street. So it's like relatively short end to end, maybe like a few 100 feet or so, about a few 100 feet, a couple of blocks. And you see, like, basically there's not a lot of people like gathered around in this street. It seems like relatively vacant. But as you look around, you can't help but notice that on the corner of the where this lane intersects the other street to the north, there's a rather peculiar looking shop. It stands out from the others with its deep purple facade, and in its window hangs this large stuffed beholder. And above the door, there is a sign hanging with elaborate letters, all in sort of purple, spelling out Old Zablob Shop.
Interesting.
Does this shop have like windows like overlooking the street?
Yeah, it has like large sort of windows that seem to like overlook the whole street. Essentially, it has like a relatively good view. Of course, one of them is sort of like blocked by this giant stuffed beholder, but you imagine that it would have a pretty good like view of this intersection.
I look at Sheldrake and say, "It's like, do you think anyone in there maybe saw what happened?"
It would be our best lead, I believe, to ask any of the nearby shops or nearby establishment if anyone there has witnessed these men walking down here.
I sort of look over at Bassick. Morton, you're a ranger, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, so I suppose, like, knowing that Bassick's a ranger, I guess, I'd probably look at him and say, Bassick, I don't suppose... I mean, if these men did follow them out last night and there was an exchange, would you be able to uncover any evidence of that? Any tracks or signs of fighting that are recent from last night?
I mean, I can certainly try, but it's a big city.
Yeah, it would be difficult with the amount of traffic that goes through a muddy city road.
Only thing I'm pretty sure I could do if I could see tracks in an alleyway, but the main road, no chance.
I see. Well, maybe it's worth checking out this shop then. So what was it called again?
It's called the Old Zablob Shop.
Zablob.
Why are the names in Sweden so weird? Old Zablob Shop.
Zablob.
Can I get any indication of like what this place sells? Like,
No.
Salt blobs, of course.
Classic. Is this one of these
whatever
exotic food shops that you
whatever
talk
it
about
is,
a lot?
whatever it is, it's very purple.
Hey, don't look at me. I don't know.
This is very purple. All right.
Maybe it's a brothel.
Oh, please no. All right, let's go in.
All right. So heading up to the door of this establishment, as you sort of like open the door and peer inside, this cloud of lavender-scented purple smoke trails out from the shop's door, and you see as you like open it up, and this like small bell rings. Every wall inside is painted purple, and every dusty knick-knack lining the shelves is dyed this deep violet color. On the other side of the room, sitting cross-legged on the counter, where you assume business would be conducted, there is this hairless old gnome, kind of with like this dark, kind of like grayish skin, wearing these plum-colored robes, his cheeks decorated with 9 purple face-painted eyes. He's currently like smoking this like purple pipe with this like violet smoke trailing off from it, and he lowers it and exhales this cloud, this cloud of lavender smoke before raising his hand, and he says, "Hail and well met! Come browse the shelves of the most curious curiosity shop in the world." And you see there's just like lining the shelves here are just a bunch of just like random trinkets and baubles, all of them purple. As you all like filter into the room, and he says, new customers, can I get something for you?" And he's kind of like scanning, and he says, "Oh, but what's this I see? Perhaps you come on a recommendation." As his eyes sort of like pass and like land at Sir Reginald.
Sir Reginald.
Hello,
Reginald?
Zablob. Hello, Zablob.
And he says, "Ah, Reginald, it is so good to see you again. Perhaps you have come for another trinket." He says,
Sort of
"Hope
turn
you."
to look at Reginald.
I have come into more money.
Can I make a history check on Sir Reginald for what I know as the page know what do I know his family?
I mean, you don't.
I would like to browse the shelves.
Of course, yes, you could browse the shelves for all sorts of numerous trinkets, trinkets and baubles.
What do I know of this employee?
I mean, yeah, you can make a history check since you're like the Snoopy type, you know, getting involved in other people's lives. No, this is unfamiliar to you. Yeah, you don't keep track of their lives to that degree.
Yeah, yes, of course.
I sort of like turn to Reginald. I'm like, Sir Reginald, you know this man and this shop?
Yes.
Oh, right, okay. Fair enough. I suppose I'll go up to the proprietor and say, well, hello, sir. I'm Valerie Cadencia von Bourbon. I'm Sir Reginald's current employer. I was wondering if I could ask you a couple questions, if that's all right.
And you see the Zerif Neblin sort of like leaps off the counter and sort of stands up, 2.5 feet tall or whatever on the ground, looking up at you, smiling, and he says, as he like reaches his like small hand up to you, and he says, "Zablob, no relation to the eye tyrant hanging in the window," and he says, "Perhaps," and he says, "although I am more open to answering the questions of the paying customers." But of course you come on recommendation from an old companion of mine, a return customer. Perhaps I could. It depends on what you're looking for.
Well, hopefully it won't take too long. Last night, coming from the direction of the Skewered Dragon, a man and his acquaintance made their way down this way. One of them should have been wearing a gaudy 6-inch relief of a unicorn with pearls on a chain around his neck. He didn't return home last night, and his wife is very worried. So we're just looking to see if we can track him down. Do you know if you saw anything?
Both of these
And I
men
sort
should be human.
Yes. We noticed your window overlooked the way we came from the tavern, so we just thought you might have seen something.
Yeah. So he starts like kind of like thinking for a moment. And says, I see something. He says, around what time would this have been?
Just after midnight, roughly.
He says, "Oh, it's pretty late. I'm usually in bed by then." Let me think for a moment. And he says, maybe I did. And as he's like doing this, he's sort of like perusing the shelves, and he says, perhaps I could interest you in something, however. And he kind of like picks up this like small little object, and it looks like a single like caltrop that like is made of like bone. Like you can see like the texture of it is like bone, but it's all been like painted like this deep like purple color. And he says, what do you think? Curious object, isn't it? And he says, perhaps this thing holds the answers you seek?
I sort of like look around. Is there anything? What would Valerie like? What, like if I have to buy something, I at least want to get something I'm going to get some use out of. Has he got anything like?
I'm sorry. Keep going. I was going to ask about the Caltrop in character afterwards.
Fair enough. Has he got anything like a nice ring?
Roll a D100 for me. We'll see what catches your eye as you kind of peruse the shelves. You don't see like a ring or anything like that, but what stands out to you, like you're looking for like the glint of something, right? Amongst all these shelves, there is like a glint that catches your eye. But as you settle on it, you see that the glint came from what appears to be like a glass eyeball, like a replacement glass eyeball, but it's like completely purple.
I sort of like pick it up. I guess it's got my curiosity. How much for this?
Yeah.
And sort of
I
like,
would ask, as she was looking around, I would also ask, so like, I look at the Caltrop and be like, does this have some sort of function that would have allowed it to overview the street?
and then he says, perhaps it may have. And he says, there are many curiosities in the shop. They might even perhaps have magical potential even I or you are unaware of. He says, you won't know until you buy
I
it.
cast detect magic.
Oh, thank God, you have that. I was like,
Yeah, you don't detect any magic in the shop at all. Other than let me see here. You do detect magic from the stuffed beholder in the window.
No.
Divination magic.
Yeah, well, I suppose as Valerie like picks up the glass eyeball, she's like, "Well, I can sense there's some magic from that stuffed beholder."
He says, see, there's many magical things here. In some more esoteric sense. He says, well, are you interested, perhaps? He says, that eye there, 2 gold, and it's yours. Perhaps the eye and much more.
Sheldrick will also like look around the shelves, just like take a glance. I rolled a d100.
Yeah, so the first thing that sort of catches your eye, you see this strange looking alabaster mask, which normally you would expect would be like this sort of pure white, kind of like porcelain kind of color. Very almost like sort of featureless face, but again, sort of like painted purple with these like spiral patterns, kind of like in a lighter like violet color on it.
I'll pay 2 gold for the glass eye.
Yeah, so he's like smiles with glee, and he says, "Excellent, excellent," and snatches the gold, and he says, "Perhaps why don't you see? Look, gaze through the eye towards the street and see what it sees."
Sigh, and it's like, very well. She's just sort of like, I'll humor him. I'll do it.
All right. So as you turn, you like put this eye up to your own eye, like gazing through it, and it's like impossible to see any. Like everything turns purple. It's like almost impossible, and like everything's like weirdly distorted. But as you're sort of like squinting, trying to like get a view of something, you begin to see shapes moving. Everybody else also sees these shapes, but for Alexei, they're all like distorted and kind of like purplish. As you see figures like moving, like vague figures like moving outside of the window, playing through. You still have your detect magic up. You actually detect like illusion magic coming into being in front of you as this scene begins to play out. And he says, what do you see? What do you see? And he says, I think I see it too. Ah, yes, a number of men outside my window. And he says, there were 2 of them walking by, and they were jumped by a number of rough-looking men. About 5 in all. They were wearing this black leather armor. He says, one of them, a rather prominent tattoo, and as he's sort of like is saying this, you see the illusion of this man kind of like comes standing right up against the window with this like prominent black tattoo of a winged snake on the back of his neck. And he says, oh yes, there was a brutal battle. And he says, those 2, they did not just merely sit down and go quietly. No, there was quite the fight. I dare not intervene, but alas, they were outnumbered 5-2. And he says, I saw them drag them away around the corner of my shop. He says, most likely to dump them in the alleyway there. He says, I dare not follow. And he says, not my business to get mixed up in.
I see. You've not been back there since.
He says, oh no, I dread the thought of what might be lurking in that alleyway. He says, I am content to sit here in my purple palace.
And quite a palace it is, sir.
And sort of smiles and says, I hope your purchase was useful.
Well, thank you very much for the assistance. Okay, shall we go? I look to everyone.
I'm already standing by the door on my way out when you say that.
I see Zach has also rolled for a curiosity.
Alright, let's see what curiosity he sees. It's at 94, that's a big one. You see, as you're sort of like exiting the room, Reginald, your eye catches this glint of this mosaic tile with this sort of like multi-hued glazed surface depicting some sort of, it looks like it was like part of a larger kind of like scene, and it's now like a small part of it, but there's this like intricate like patterned mosaic tile with this deep purple purple hue.
Zablob.
Yes,
I hold it
Reginald.
up. How much for this one?
And he says, "Oh, now that is quite the piece you're holding there." And he says, "Rumor has it was once part of a grand portrait that was in the Waterdeep castle itself." And he says, "For you, a return customer, 1 gold. What a steal!
I look at it.
A piece of history itself."
I reach into my pouch and pull out a single gold for Zablob, and I pass it to him.
And he says, "Excellent to do business with you again, Reginald." And he sort of takes it and hands you the mosaic tile. He says, "May it
always,
serve you
Zablob.
well."
As always, Zablob, have a wonderful day.
And he says, "You as well. May your day be filled with brilliant hues of purple."
So the mask, will it fit me? Like, does it look like that?
It's like a normal sort of like human face-sized mask.
We're all game.
Alright, so I'll holding the mask. I'll turn towards like Sublob. It's just like, Master Sublob, what would how much would it be for this mask?
And he says, "Ooh, I did not know that we had such a connoisseur amidst our group here." And he says, "That mask, they say Lorraine Silverhand herself once wore it when she became the chosen of Mistra. It is infused with such powerful magics. It is stained by them, hence the purple hue." And he says, "For you," and he says, "a special deal. Normally, such an artifact would be worth hundreds of gold, but for you, a mere 6 gold coins, and it could be yours."
I'll put it back on the shelf. As it's just like, I'm sure it will find a good use in someone else's hands. As this, it seems too valuable for the uses I intend.
And he says, a shame, but perhaps one day." And he says, "If there's anything else I can help you with."
No, I believe our business is included. I look at the others who are like walking out. Thank you for your help, Master Sublob.
And he says, "Of course," and he says, "Best of luck in your pursuit of those brigands."
Since I left the moment she said that if we're gonna leave, I'm standing in an alleyway there, like see if I can find some tracks.
Yeah, so as you sort of like are all leaving, you head out to the alleyway, looking around. What's your survival modifier?
+3.
3, so that'd be 13. Yeah, so like looking around, like as you go into the alleyway itself, it's like pretty dark, but you see like pretty immediately signs of an obvious struggle that took place here. Blood mixed into the mud, and in fact, all of you, as you're kind of like moving into this alleyway, you all have a perception high enough to notice that as you're kind of taking a few moments looking around this scene with the blood mixed into the mud, there is lying in the nearby gutter, kind of like at the edge of the alleyway, this gaudy looking 6-inch bas relief of a unicorn.
I kind of pick it up and go like, I guess we know that he was taken.
You also notice that further down into the alleyway, there is a single blue necklace bead sort of lying in the mud.
Oh, hello.
Ooh, hello. Basic, are you able to pick up any tracks?
Am I able to pick up any tracks?
Does he have an enhanced sense of smell?
Go ahead and make a survival check.
Can I assist? I have +5 modifier.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, Jesus, what didn't you roll?
Right?
Are you
No,
a
I won't,
ranger?
but doesn't get the advantage.
You got advantage, so you got to 21.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as you're kind of like going up, you like look up at this bead, and you notice as you're like sort of picking up the bead, looking for signs of boot prints. Unfortunately, like the mud is like pretty like pretty like wet, and the boot prints like got like all filled in. So you don't see any sign of like an actual like trail, but you notice that like a few paces back down around the corner, out of the corner of your eye, you see another singular bead a few feet further down the alley, and past that you notice another one. A trail.
Breadcrumb trail. Let's follow it.
It would seem as though, despite his condition, perhaps Floon's mind was still somewhat intact, as these beads are sort of laid out in an obvious trail.
Yes, I was about to say. It appears that this Floon Blagmar is not as much of an idiot as I first had assumed.
I'm on the track now. I'm just following.
Keep our wits about us, though. This place is dangerous, after all.
Indeed.
And as we're walking as well. So, Sir Reginald, how do you know that Zoblob fellow?
Known him from the past. I go and visit him every now and then.
Ah, I see. Well, he seems to be doing well for himself. If not a strange obsession with the color purple.
Do you not like purple?
It's not that I dislike purple, but I just don't think anyone can love a color as much as he does. What's that stuff he was smoking?
I don't know.
This. Carol.
Yeah, so you guys are conversing back and forth as you are making your way, following this trail of beads spread out every 10, 20 feet or so, down through back alleyways, kind of twisting and winding through the dark alleyways of the dock ward. You pass many people who just kind of like eye you suspiciously as you're kind of like basically like looking in the mud, kind of like carrying on, but they kind of like leave you alone. And eventually, you make your way up to this place, this narrow alley enveloped in gloom that stands as dark as a dungeon and as odorous as one too. Nearly all of the streetlights on this lane have been smashed, and there is only one single light piercing the darkness, this faint flickering from down the lane like a distant candle. And as you see that you follow the bead trail, you come and at last you find one last single bead dropped just in front of that candle. Opposite of there, you see there is what appears to be a large like warehouse building with this fenced-in yard, and painted just above the door's handle with black paint, you see a symbol of this black winged snake. And as you sort of like find this place in this warehouse, looking at it in this dim light on Candle Lane, the flickering street lamp behind you, that is where we are going to end things off for tonight.
Woohoo! All right.
Did we level up?
No. No.
Well, we had an encounter with a troll.
I mean, that's gotta be worth some experience.
The innkeeper had an encounter with the troll.
But the innkeeper was there.
The innkeeper had an encounter with
Thor kind of dealt the finishing blow, and that's what matters.
No.
Yeah.
This isn't League of Legends.
Just think before we get to the XP.
Yes,
We
I level up to level 3. You guys are still level 1.
Yeah.
But we're in the group, so we shared experience. We played enough games, Brad. We know how this works.
No, unfortunately, this isn't League of Legends. You can't get credit just by last hitting.
Oh, damn.
No, you are all still level 1 at this point.
that.
So next week we will see what lies within this warehouse at the end of Floon's Pearl Trail. Thank you all for joining me tonight, and we will be back next week at the same time, same place.